Some days call for some oomph to amplify your everyday look. Like when you want the look of false lashes without the extra effort. Reach for Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer Mascara. Or when you want all eyes on your smile, keep Empower Gloss Ultra Glossy Lip Serum in your bag. It's a burst of 24-hour hydration that smooths like a serum, shines like a gloss, and can be worn sheer or layered. You'll also look and feel your best with Thrive Cosmetics. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. And for every product purchased, Thrive Cosmetics donates to help communities thrive. So every time you use your favorite Thrive Cosmetics product, you're helping communities you care about too. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. Well, we got a little college sports news here as we track towards the start of college football. The news breaking yesterday that the Mountain West Conference and the Pac-12 have come to a settlement over the poaching of teams, including Utah State University. They've come to a little settlement here. It's going to be about $10 million per team, a little less than that reportedly. And they withheld money last year from the distribution. So really now they got to write a check for about a couple $1 million. And with that, they can move on. Their exit fees ranging from 19 to 38 million bucks. So there's some money headed to the Mountain West. It could have been more. They found the middle ground, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. And now Aggies can turn the page, move on, and figure out how are they going to compete in the Pac-12? How are they going to build things up? That is a question facing everyone. Is CSU and Utah State and San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State, all leaving the Mountain West, heading to the Pac-12 to join Oregon State and Washington State and Texas State, which is a team that, off my radar here, off most of our radars here. We followed Oregon State and Washington State in the Pac-12 and followed the Mountain West. So you kind of have an idea about these other 7 programs. But I have read an interesting story about Texas State. There's money. They're actually in a pretty good population center. San Antonio and Austin are about an hour apart. They're in between, and that area is just booming and growing together. So a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of money. Now, the San Antonio Spurs are there in San Antonio, obviously. The University of Texas is obviously in Austin. And there's other stuff going on. I mean, UTSA is down there, and Major League Soccer is down there. And then there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of people with money down there. It'll be interesting to see if Texas State can just add water, stir, and really jump up in the league. Utah State getting things going. Bronco Mendenhall meeting with the media. For you Aggie fans, let's listen in to Bronco. A couple minutes with the media right here on the Zone.
Anything that stood out to you with this being the first practice of fall camp?
I think that we reflected maturity, experience, and seasoning. It didn't feel like a first practice. It felt like maybe the third week in fall camp. I can't speak to the execution specifically because I haven't seen the film. But in terms of, it feels like the second year of a program rather than the first. And it feels like, again, a more methodical, seasoned, prepared football program at this stage.
Yeah, and that was going to be my second question, just how today felt as opposed to a year ago.
It was interesting. In relation to a year ago, so much was new, and that increases anxiety. There's uncertainty. The player's not sure how the flow will work, what the tempo looks like, what the corrections look like, and really reinforcing the standard. Robert and I, our offensive coordinator, again, for those that he's new to our program, but he and I have worked together. At one point during the season, we just stopped. I walked by him, and he stopped, and I stopped, and he said, "Man, this is tight. This is efficient. Feels like we're halfway through the year." And again, that's somewhat of an exaggeration, but that was the feeling today. If this was just a continuation of last season where we finished.
What have you seen in terms of growth? What's been the biggest growth in your program from last year to now?
I think poise and confidence. There's confidence that can happen that can't be or struggle to be executed with precision, especially in critical moments. And I thought we managed those about 50-50 last year. Of the 4 really close games we had, 2 managed well, 2 not quite what we needed to do. And so I think I would just add the word poise to the experience is what I felt today and what I see.
Are there any benchmarks you're going to try to accomplish with this team over the next 4 weeks of fall camp?
Really most of our approach is repetition driven. And so we know what deliberate practice looks like. We know the number of repetitions a quarterback needs to get ready. We know the number of repetitions you need to tackle to truly be ready just over the time that I've coached. So there's benchmarks we have. Then there's metrics in those situations where we know, gosh, much like the season, what yards per play has to look like, right? What efficiency has to look like, what the big plays need to look like, etc. And so those will be kind of being tracked as metrics in situations where they fit as we're hitting the other benchmarks that we need.
There is Bronco Mendenhall. When we come back, we will go to BYU practice. Kalani Sitake meeting with the media. We'll hear from Isaiah Glasker and LJ Martin next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, Monday, the Utes kicked things off. PK and I were up there. Aggies had their media day Tuesday. Scotty G broadcasting live from Logan with Tim Lacombe. And Wednesday, it was BYU getting underway. Nice of everybody to take their own day, own their own day. PK and I and Jake were all down there yesterday. Kalani Sitake meeting with the media, along with LJ Martin and Isaiah Glasker. Let's start with the star linebacker. Here's Isaiah Glasker.
How was the first day? I think the team's looking good so far. I know our defense stacks, so it's going to be fun getting back out here and playing with these guys.
What's it like having Kelly Poppinga as the defensive coordinator?
I definitely say he's an intense guy, but it's I don't know, I feel like you learn something new every day from him, and I feel like especially being as a linebacker, it's like he was a linebacker, and I'm just excited for the season to come. So
Jay Hill was pretty hands-on. How was he in relation to how Jay was?
Yeah, like I love Jay Hill. He was a great coach. He was, like you said, super hands-on. I feel like with Jay Hill, he was more of like a safeties type of guy. He was hands-on with the safeties, and then you get Kelly Poppinga, like I said, linebacker guy. So I don't know, you learn a lot from him. So.
What do you say about the team's mentality coming into camp?
I feel like really just the same thing. We take it day by day, and then when the season comes, it's going to be game after game. So really just trying to get our things together and, dominate this season. So.
What are your expectations?
Right now, it's just win our first game. That's all I could really say.
Does it feel weird to be back out here? I know last year you were planning on being maybe in the NFL this time last year.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, for sure. But I'm excited to be able to run it back and hopefully go get that national championship. So.
Yeah, your cousin's on this team. Have you had a chance to go up against him yet?
Shoot, I'm just waiting to get those pads on and give him that welcome to college football moment.
Where do you feel like the defense's biggest strength is this year?
I feel like there's not really one specific. You got guys up front with Keanu, and then you got guys the back end solid, Falatau, Satwala, Raider, like really all those guys can play, and then just our linebackers, it's really any guy can go in and make a play at any time. So really just I feel like everyone has it. So
will that front be able to put pressure on quarterbacks without your help?
Shoot, I feel like they can do it themselves, really. If anything, they're going to open it up for me, so I'm excited.
It seems like the defense has a lot of ball hawks returning this year. What does that mean for your ability as a team to create turnovers? Because I know that's kind of been the calling card the last couple of seasons, and you guys have been right there at the top of the Big 12 in terms of getting those takeaways. I would say really it's nice just because, especially as a linebacker coming off the edge, it's always nice when the quarterback drops back there and he's just putting the ball. So, I don't know, a little bit easier to get sacks, and I feel like we got those guys like Trey Alexander, Evan Johnson, these guys who can just lock down, so I'm excited.
How good can Justin Kirkland be?
I've never seen a dude like that before. Him and Keanu together, you're in for a long movie.
Being such a leader on this team, just what can you say? What do you think the identity of this group in 2026 will be?
I would say really just to make plays, and I feel like we're the hard-working team, and I don't know, I've seen over the offseason, dudes are taking that extra step, so hopefully we can just show it on the field this season.
There's Isaiah Glasker now. Here's running back L.J. Martin.
You led the Big 12 in rushing last year. What do you do for an encore this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're not really worried about stats or anything. We're just really worried about wins. And, yeah, I mean, every time I'm trying to touch the ball, the goal is a touchdown, so yeah, I mean, if I'm doing my part, we should win, and yeah, I'll have whatever I need.
What was accomplished today in day one?
Yeah, a lot was accomplished, just going out there, just getting back familiar with the playbook and just competing again. So it was good for us just to come out here and get to competing again.
How much of a workload is maybe the first team offense, taking on in camp? Because with so much experience, are you guys just kind of pacing yourselves for the battles of the season, or are you guys kind of in the thick of it already?
No, yeah, I would say we're in the thick of it already. Yeah, we want to do a lot. We're trying to get ready, but also there is that happy medium of getting ready to have a long season. So I would say we're trying to do as much as we can while also being smart.
LJ, what were your impressions of the new running back? I think his name's Journey Tonga. Was he out here today, and what were your impressions of him?
Yeah, Journey was out here. He did well. He's a young guy. He knows the playbook pretty well already for someone his age, so I'm really impressed. And, I think he'd be really good.
Sione Moa back to his usual self in the backfield?
No, yeah, saw Sione today. He looked good. He was doing great in spring as well. So, he just picked up where he left off in spring, so I'm really excited for him.
So we haven't seen you on the field since the game before the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel coming back out here for the first time in whatever it's been?
No, yeah, I felt great. Just a little bit of rust to be shaken off. Just have had actually people in front of me whenever I'm running the ball, or just going through things. So now having someone in front of me, going against one of the guys one-on-one, it's been fun, and it was fun.
When did you get fully cleared?
Yeah, I've been cleared since about early June. So yeah, a couple months now.
Do you anticipate a lighter than normal workload, just considering what you've accomplished already in your career?
I don't know. It's whatever Coach A-Rod wants to give me. So yeah, that's going to be my workload.
What have been kind of the things you've worked on to get ready for fall camp and kind of get back to where you were last year?
Yeah, just getting my shoulder back, and then as well as just trying to be better all around, just speed, strength, and just also being smarter.
What's this team's level of motivation like, and could you feel it even on day one of camp?
Yeah, I think we're real motivated. I think we're really excited to be out here. I think we're having a great time, and you see all the guys out here. We're all enjoying just being back out here competing with each other. So I think we're really excited to play football again.
Multiple of your teammates have said that you are the best tailback in the country. That comes from your quarterback. How do you take that?
Yeah, everyone has their own best tailback, and if I'm there, it's cool. If not, I'll just have to go out there and show it. So, that's, anyone's goal. You always want to be the best. If not, then why you play? So, I'm out here trying to be the best and just keep going.
With so many returning faces, this offense, what's going to be different this year, you think? What are going to be some of the characteristics that are maybe different or elements to this offense in 2026?
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to throw the ball. We threw the ball well last year, but I think it's going to be a lot better this year. We got a lot of targets coming back, and, we added a lot of targets too. So, I'm really excited. We got a lot of guys with a lot of ability out there. So, just getting familiar right now, and, and then game one, we'll have to go out there and showcase it.
Any plays that stood out to you from your vantage point for the offense that caught your attention that you could share with us?
One of our receivers caught a touchdown deep down there, so I was really excited for that. And, so there was that.
Who was it?
I believe it was Jared Esplin. Okay. So, yeah, he's a receiver. Yeah, he came over last fall, and he had a good showing, and he's been doing good spring, good during workouts, and I'm excited for him.
How much better can Bear be after a full offseason actually being here?
Yeah, he could be a lot better. Just going from high school to college, it's a whole nother jump. So, he's I feel like he's gotten a lot better already, and I feel like he could take even a bigger step just, being in a college offseason and just getting used to things.
What specifically have you seen from him that's maybe different from last season?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference is, he's just a lot familiar with the playbook, and he just knows where he's going. I feel like a lot of stuff pre-snap he's already knowing what's going on, so I just think he got a lot better in that area.
LJ, the offensive line has big expectations this year. A lot of people saying good stuff about them. What do you see specifically where you think that they're going to be good this year?
Yeah, they just based off what they did last year. They did really well last year, and just today in practice they were opening holes. They were doing a great job today in practice, so I'm really excited to see what they could do in games.
All right, there's running back L.J. Martin. Now let's go to the head coach, Kalani Sitake.
What was accomplished today in day one, Kalani?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Obviously, I'm really excited for day one. We definitely have a faster team, so I like the team speed, and then the connection. It's just good. You can see the continuity that we had from last year. It's rolling over, so the momentum on all three phases, even with some new guys there like Justin Enna with the special teams, just really happy what he's done, from January to now. And then K-Pop's done a great job with the defense. And so the transition's been really, really good going into fall camp. And I think, looking at what A-Rod's done with the offense and having Tyler there with him at the quarterbacks, it's been really nice. And it's good to have some healthy guys back to go.
Talking about continuity, how much further ahead, I guess, overall do you feel like your team is?
Yeah, I mean, we're way further ahead than we were last year. And so that's a good sign. And even with the new guys that have come in, they just, you can't even tell that they're new anymore. I mean, in spring, you can see getting used to different terminology. We guys like Cade, and it's hadn't been a problem. Those guys you can tell that the guys worked really hard in the off season. They worked really hard in the summer, and it's paid off a lot. And so practice one, you got to stay humble and stay hungry and just keep working hard. But we're going to utilize all the time that we have from now until game one. And with practice one out of the way, I can't wait to watch the film. I'm really excited about what we did today.
Where's the most heated competition in camp?
Most heated competition? They're all heated in this heat right now. But no, but it's we encourage everybody to compete for a spot and for playing time, and we feel like we need more than 11 starters on all three phases, and we feel good about our depth, and so we just keep improving the depth. And these guys are fighting for reps and fighting for playing time, and that's. We only play the best. That's what we do.
What's the potential for this offense with both LJ and Bareback?
Yeah, I mean, we're focused on winning games. Not really. That's the most important stat. So we'll do whatever it takes for all three phases to complement each other and put ourselves in position to get the victory. That's what we're focused on the most. And I think the stats will work out the way it's supposed to. But I like the versatility that we have. In all three phases as well, and so it should be a lot of fun this year.
Barry barely arrived this time last year going through training camp. How much different does he look this time going through?
It's what you would imagine. I mean, he's a veteran now, and he knows what he's doing. He's making corrections out there, and it's nice to see a guy that's been here, and have put in a lot of time, and so he's had a busy off-season, busy summer, and I'm just really proud of how he utilized all the time.
What's the level of confidence and comfort level like for him?
Yeah, I trust him, and I trust him and all the quarterbacks in that group because I trust who's coaching them, and we know that we don't have to rely on them to win games for us. They're capable of doing that. We can rely on all the positions.
Running a veteran head coach, this is another year. What's your favorite part of being a head coach?
Yeah, I mean, this is my 11th year, so I don't know if that's veteran or veteran mean old. Yeah, I feel old. I've aged quite a bit, but I'm loving it. I mean, that's just I feel really blessed and fortunate to be doing this, and so every day that I get to live this life, it's been a dream for me, and so I'm gonna do everything I can to help these young men and do what I can to represent for Cougar Nation, because I am a fan first when it all comes down to it.
I don't see Andrew Williams on the roster. Any update on him?
Andrew Williams has selected to go on a mission, and he just turned his papers in on Sunday. Really proud of him. He and I talked weeks ago, and it's been on his mind for a while, and I don't think he thought about serving the mission before, and now that he just asked if this is the right time. And the first thing is he didn't want to let the team down because he's a guy that can compete for playing time. But he was able to share his thoughts and bear his testimony on the gospel to me, and it seemed like the best field he should be on is the mission field, and Coach Woods and everybody was really happy, excited for him, and we're just really proud of him, and so he had to defer his enrollment, and we'll get his call soon, and we'll see where he's going to go. But Andrew will be elder for the next 2 years, and we're really proud of his decision to serve.
Staying with the roster personnel, is this the roster you're going to carry into the season? Because I know you were talking about kind of working parts.
There's still some moving parts on it. I think the closer we get to game one, when school starts, that's when it's got to be set. But there's still some guys that we still add to it.
With the injunction that's out there, have you given any thought to potentially adding guys that could come back?
That's been some thought, but we're really limited on the roster spots that we have. I think we have our guys that are set and that we've promised roster spots to, and so we're really just go on that first, and then there's just a bit weird timing for all that to happen, but we looked into it and saw the options and possibilities, but we have a responsibility to the people that are on the roster currently right now first.
Do you have any roster spots available on the 105? Because I know there's the DSA part, but do you?
That's the one that's really difficult on the 105. Not a lot of flexibility right now, even with some of the openings that we had. We've already, you guys know, it's not like you're down on spot and then there's not anyone there. There's always a waiting list, and then there's kind of a wish list for every position coach, and so I have to listen to everybody and coordinators, and everyone make their pitch and on who should be the next up, and that's the fun part about it, and so we'll just see what the team requires, and we don't have to make that decision just yet either, and we have to see how it's going to look with our depth and how things are looking, even scout team wise, what's going to be the best feel for our team and where we need the most help.
This is Coach Poppinga's first year as a defensive coordinator. What is it about him that gives you confidence and trust that he's really going to be a good DC?
I know K-Pop had what it took from the very beginning when I first had him on staff, and I always had a good feeling about him and his reputation from players that have played for him and guys that played for me in the NFL. Had nothing but great things to say about him, and then I watched him carefully throughout his career. And when there's an opportunity to bring him on, I'm glad that he's here. I can tell you one thing about K-Pop. He's probably the hardest working coordinator I've ever been around. And you work that hard, only good things can happen, and just really pleased with everything. I just have to keep reminding him doesn't have to do so much, but it's nice to have to tell somebody to ease up a little bit, but he's intense, he wants it, and I think with that type of work ethic, you can't go wrong.
Zay said he was pretty hands-on, much like Jay Hill was. Is that?
Yeah, that's. I think most of the coaches all of the coaches on the staff are going to be guys that I like, that I feel is going to be able to connect to the players, and I want this to be a player-run program, but at the same time, I want the mentors to be helping the players and being there along the way, and so. With the coaches that we have on our staff, they got to be hands-on.
What stood out from the wide receivers today in the first day of practice from your vantage point?
Yeah, the young guys are really good. The returning guys are really good too, and the timing with veteran quarterbacks that we have with Bourget and with Bear has been nice. And then seeing other guys like Enoch come along and throw. And these guys utilize their time on their play run practices and their individual time this summer really, really well, and hanging out together and running routes, and it showed today.
Kalani, during your tenure, there's been a lot of things in college football that have changed pretty dramatically. How do you navigate all of those changes while still being the head coach when things change, whether it's from year to year or sometimes even month to month? How much of an added layer does that add to just being a coach these days?
I think you just got to adapt, and probably the moment that I'm not willing to do that is when I'm probably need to hang it up. You know what I mean? So, listen, whatever happens, rules or things that you're allowed to do, we're going to always try to see if they're aligned with what we are as a university, which is aligned with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and how can we benefit from this, and how can we get these young men on our team to be the best version of themselves. If we can do that off the field in the classroom, then it should transfer over to the field. But we're still trying to figure all that stuff out, and I feel like we have a good mindset because we're focused on the right thing first. And these guys, I enjoy coaching these young men because they're the best in college football. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see what they can do and the sacrifices that they've made in the off season, and for them to reap the rewards when it comes this fall.
How are you approaching a camp with so many returning faces to get them ready for the battles of the season? How are you handling those veterans? Are you creating opportunities for younger guys? How are you approaching this camp, maybe strategically from that standpoint?
Everything's got to be. I think there's not a cookie cutter system anymore. It's not like even with lifting and all that stuff. Everything has to be a little bit more specialized, and so we have a plan for the veterans that have kind of proven themselves, and what do they need to see, and how can we keep them fresh but also keep them coming along and progressing. So everybody has a range of development, And so the veterans have development, but it's a different development than the young freshmen coming in. So we have to adjust and specialize all our training, our meetings, how we do things, and what we do on the football field. And so the coaches, sports science, our trainers, our support staff, everybody involved has been really crucial to making this work. And it takes everybody getting that done. I'm just the one that gets to talk to you guys, but everybody else is doing all the work, and I've been really pleased with the entire staff and everybody that's in this building.
So to follow up on that, are you breaking out like newcomers in meetings, like how? So when they're done with practice, like how can you take us into that?
We're doing a lot of different things. I mean, otherwise, if you teach the same stuff, the guys that have already been there already know it. It falls on deaf ears. They already know. So the action is to try to get them to do the teaching, get them to be involved in it. So flipping the classroom, things like that. It's looking at a growth mindset and trying to change the classroom and how we learn. So that's the main way with the young guys, and then giving them reps. And so you have to combine that with opportunities to be on the field. And so we've been able to do that. And I thought we did a great job at it with what we did for Bear last year. So Bear still needs to develop. It's just at a different level. And then now we can complement that with everything that's going on around him.
During the media days in Texas, a lot of the coaches had very positive things to say about you, your personality, your character, and how you coach. They also do have a group chat with them. How do you maintain a relationship with those coaches and continue that throughout the season?
Well, I mean, I think you give me too much credit on that. We have amazing coaches in this conference. I've been welcomed to them when first time we had our meetings. All the coaches that were there were super warm, just kind, and the leadership in the Big 12 has been amazing. So for me to just be in there, it was a really cool environment for me to be in. And so it's like it's not anything that I've done. I'm joining a good group of men, of leaders that have done a great job, and it's pretty cool because we actually get to share thoughts and notes and talk a lot about there's only so many guys that know exactly what we're going through. So it's a really cool fraternity to be involved with and be able to be it's weird. We have to compete and we have to play against each other, but it's kind of nice to have that friendship, and it's made things a lot more enjoyable being in this conference.
There's BYU football coach Kalani Sitake. All right, we'll take a break, come back. Jay Drew joining PK and I on yesterday's show. We will get to Jay next. Stay with us.
The snack wrap plus Caesar sauce equals extra crispy chicken Caesar-y greatness. Sounds delicious. Caesar sauce at McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jay Drew, longtime writer for the Salt Lake Tribune, now the Deseret News, and he covered high schools for a long time. He's been on the BYU beat for close to a couple decades now. He joined us during yesterday's show before he went to the opening day of practice. And so some of the time references are a little off, but the issues are the same. These are the storylines people are following as we get ready to jump into what ought to be an intriguing season. Here is Jay Drew with PK and I on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What are you most looking forward to hearing and talking about? What's at the top of your to-do list?
Oh, boy. Unlike most years, there's just not anything that really stands out or is a main storyline, or like last year, obviously, with the quarterback situation, and the year before, probably the same thing. This year, there's really nothing that really kind of jumps out. I guess the biggest thing would be the new coaches. Kelly Poppinga is the new defensive coordinator. They brought in Lewis Walker and DeMario Warren to coach the secondary. So I would guess that would be probably the biggest question mark. How are they going to replace Jay Hill and all that he brought to the program, and Gennaro Guilford? So that would probably be, I guess, the biggest thing. I know that's not juicy and that's nothing to do really with the actual players themselves, but that's the thing that I guess stands out the most for me.
I've been reading the stuff in the Deseret News as they profile each of the teams. And so BYU's going into this season with high expectations for a lot of folks. It's get to the conference title game, get to the playoff, and go from there. And it's probably a worthy goal at this point. How do you think BYU stacks up relative to the competition and the main competitors in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think there's, even with Texas Tech's quarterback situation, I still think they're the most talented team, the best team with the best, off-season acquisitions out of the transfer portal and the best returning players coming back. So I think Texas Tech is probably still a cut above everybody. I would group BYU, Utah, Arizona in kind of a little second tier. I'm probably leaving out one other team that
K-State maybe, TCU.
Oh yeah, or Houston. I think is
Houston.
A lot of people are talking about Houston. So, but I think BYU's right there. I was really impressed last year with how Utah finished, and with the bowl game. And I know they got a new coach, but I really like Utah's quarterback situation. I think Utah's got the better quarterback situation than any team in the conference. Including BYU and including Texas Tech, with basically two guys that are, you can rely on. So, but anyway, I would put those teams right there. And as you look at the season, I think the one thing you really got to consider is Texas Tech has a pretty easy schedule as far as their conference games. They don't have to play BYU or Utah. Most of their tough games are at home. So I think you got to really consider that, and then looking at BYU, there's some definite landmines out there for BYU that I don't know if fans are really paying attention to. For instance, BYU, after they play Notre Dame, has to go to UCF, and UCF has a bye the week that BYU is playing Notre Dame. That's got to be a tough one. BYU has to go to TCU, where they've never really – I think they've won one game there in 20 years. And so that's another thing you got to consider is not only who are the best teams, but who have the most favorable schedules.
PK was at that TCU win. He remembers it well. He's got stories.
Oh, I was Jay Drew before Jay Drew.
See?
Yeah. And don't forget Rhiannon Potke.
How can I forget Rhiannon Potke? It's at the tip of my tongue at all times.
Absolutely.
You've written a lot leading up here to the opening, and people can go into the Deseret News, go to Deseret.com and read it. One headline will catch everybody's eye. Is it college football playoff or bust for BYU football in 2026? Given how good they've been the last 2 years, as you cite in the story, 23-4, and given the fact that Kalani had serious interest from Penn State and people thought they were going, and BYU ponied up even more resources to make football better, does the answer to that question have to be yes?
I don't necessarily think so. That's a tough one. I mean, a lot of crazy things could happen. I would say if Bear Bachmeier plays every game, if he's healthy, then I think there's no excuses. They've set up for this. They were on the track for this. But things can happen where you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Ironically, I wrote almost that exact same headline before the basketball season. I said, "Is it Final Four or bust for BYU basketball?" And everybody knows how that turned out. So it was bust, basically. And so with football, obviously with basketball, the reason I bring that up is that they had the injuries to Richie Saunders at the end of the year, kind of derailed that. So I think you have to leave that kind of window open if something unforeseen happens, and especially at BYU, and we'll probably get into this in a minute, but beyond Bear Bachmeier, I think if there's, speaking of another big question for BYU, it's a backup quarterback. They're just not really anybody outside of Bachmeier who has played that much in a college football game, and so that's another huge thing to consider. And I'm sure as they work with Bear throughout the season, they'll obviously a big emphasis will be on sliding, running out of bounds, just avoiding injury at all costs.
Outside of injury, what do you think would keep potentially BYU out of the conference title game? Meaning, what are their weaknesses?
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the receiver position. I know every time you talk to Aaron Roderick or Fesi Sitake or Kalani, They think they're okay at receiver. I don't. I'm not sold yet on the Kyler Casper they brought in from Oregon, mostly because he didn't play that much at Oregon. I'm not sold yet on JoJo Phillips. They've talked about potential every year with him, and he just never seems to break out. I know last year he was injured. He had the broken collarbone, so that set him back. But I think it's just a huge loss that, obviously Chase Roberts ran out of eligibility. Parker Kingston, that situation's been well documented. Cody Hagan retired medically from football. I just don't see BYU having a go-to receiver and or a guy that can take the top off of defenses consistently, a speedster, a burner. JoJo Phillips might be that guy, but he just hasn't proven it yet. Tiger Bachmeier might be that guy, but he didn't have a great year last year. So that would be the number one question is just do they have a playmaker outside of L.J. Martin on that offense?
How about that freshman from Lehigh?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about him, Legend Glasker. Cousin of linebacker Isaiah Glasker. He had a great spring. We didn't get to see a lot of it. We'll have to take their word for it for a lot of that. But yeah, he's a good one. But I mean, he's a true freshman. Very rarely do you see a true freshman step in at receiver. I mean, I know Austin Collie way back in your day, Patrick, was a great receiver as a freshman right out of the gates. But yeah, I just can't think of any others that have been that great right out of the gate for BYU.
Do you believe special teams, if they're in close games, if special teams, especially place kicking, but all of them, we've seen teams lose games on punt returns and block punts. Are they going to be good or are they going to be great?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be great, and they're going to replace Will Farron and Sam Vanderhaar as their kicker and punter with guys that are just unproven and untested. So I mean, the jury's still out on that, and that'll be a big point of emphasis here in camp is to give those guys a lot of work, a lot of game experience and game situations. And speaking of Parker Kingston, they're really going to miss him. He was a great punt returner. He returned 2 or 3 punts for touchdowns for BYU in his career. He was also a little bit of a wild card back there. He did have a few drops and made some questionable decisions, but that's another area, kick returner and punt returner, where they really don't have a proven guy doing that. So special teams is a huge question mark. You got Justin Anna coming in to replace Kelly Poppinga as the special teams coordinator. Poppinga was really good at that. I think he's probably underrated as a special teams coordinator. And I'm not saying that there'll be a big drop-off, and Justin Anna has done it before at other places such as Utah State. But you're right, David. That's a big question mark is special teams.
I think part of the deal of a coordinator is getting the kids to believe in what you say is gospel. And I've seen that. I've seen it on both ends where they didn't believe anything you said, and they did believe what you said. And Jay Hill was one in which they definitely believed in what he said. What do you think the acclimation period is going to be for Kelly Poppinga now running the defense? Because, and I know he's got assistants there and special assistants, whatever you call them. But in the moment, it's going to come down to what he's thinking there and then how much the kids believe in it and be able to execute it.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. I think the fact that they were able to retain a lot of those defensive guys, and they even kept some of those guys away from Michigan, like a Faletau Satuala, the kid from Bountiful. Others had opportunities to go elsewhere. And I think it was really telling that they did stay when Kelly Poppinga was made defensive coordinator. To me, and, I'm not in the meetings. I'm not obviously there at a lot of the practices and all that. But to me, that was a pretty good sign that these guys are on board with Kelly. From everything we've heard in at the golf outing the last couple of days and throughout the off season is these guys really like Lewis Walker, the cornerbacks coach that they brought in to replace Gennaro Guilford. it seems to me every player I've talked to really likes him. DeMario Warren is kind of Kelly Poppinga's guy, a guy that Kelly really wanted to bring in. He worked with him at Boise State. Of course, DeMario was the former Southern Utah coach. So I think the players really like this defensive coaching staff, and I think that means a lot.
Jay Drew joining us, BYU kicking off camp today. Do you see the investment that they put in the team directly? Is it obvious? Sometimes when they invest in programs, it's really obvious and you can see it. You see it happening. You see the energy they get from it. Other times it's more behind the scenes. Can you put your finger on what's happened? Because that was such a big offseason with Kalani Stain and the offer from Penn State in the match. Can you see how that's already moving the program forward, or is that one of those things that maybe you don't see until you see the results down the line?
Yeah, I can't really point to anything outward and say, yeah, that's a definite, sign right there. I guess, maybe a cynic would say, well, why weren't they able to keep Jay Hill? Why weren't they able to put up more money to keep him from Michigan? But from everything I've heard, and you guys have heard the same thing or maybe not, that Jay was pretty much going to go to Michigan. The money wasn't a factor for him. When Kyle got that job, it was kind of always Jay Hill's dream, maybe to work with Kyle again and to go to a big-time blue blood program. So, maybe no amount of money would have – that's what I've heard anyway, that no amount of money would have kept him in Provo. But as far as other outward, like, signals or signs or anything, I can't sit here and say that I've seen anything yet. I mean, obviously, we'll probably know more over the course of the next month or two. But, yeah, I can't really point to anything and say, oh, yeah, that's where kind of an influx of money or resources has taken place.
The BYU golf tournament for the media was last week. I don't know where you finished, Jay, in your group, but the only thing I know is you didn't finish first.
Did you read my article? I'm just wondering because I haven't heard from you. I literally put your name in my article as the team that won.
I got it up on the wall at home. I sent it to all my family.
Oh, I just thought, the minute that thing hits the interwebs, I'll be hearing from PK. But no, no, we were not good. We were we were below middle of the pack, but not rock bottom. Let's put it that way.
You weren't bombing them like you usually do?
No, I'm too old for that. No, we. I'll say this: we stuck to media members for our team, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh, accusations of a ringer? Is that what I'm hearing? A little passive aggressive.
Oh, wait! You're complaining now that you got beat by a girl?
Absolutely, and then the Mitch Harper. I mean, I'm interviewing. I'm asking him, "Hey, who was on your team?" And he's like, "Telling me guys I've never heard of." And I'm like, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's my brother-in-law." I'm like, "Good grief! How did they let that team sneak on there?"
Well, we had two media guys who bailed on me, so what the heck?
Yeah, no, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm congratulations.
I mean, if you're going to point fingers, you might as well give Jackie top billing. I'm reading it right now. You gave PK top billing. Jackie was second, but PK is painted as the star.
I can't wait till it cools down. I'm going to just revel in that blanket from Minky Couture.
Was it a BYU blanket? I didn't get a good look at it.
I don't know.
Oh, you haven't opened it yet?
Actually, it is opened, and it's on a spare bed right now. I saw it, but it's folded, so I haven't looked at it. I heard it was supposed to be, but I don't know. And I'll wear it with pride. I'll use it with pride. Absolutely. I'm not like you. I don't hate BYU.
Oh, we had to go there, didn't we? Oh, starting out the season just right, just perfect.
Hey, It's just the fact that you protect BYU. We need to know who got the golf cart stuck. You wouldn't name names, Jay. This is you protecting BYU. So you've got that going for you. You can be hated for protecting BYU and hating BYU at the same time. Join the club.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to throw one kid under the bus.
Did you know that Jay Drew had the unique experience of playing the same golf course without leaving on 2 separate days?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, and I was in Alaska during the summer solstice in June 21st, I think it was, and teed off at one day and finished the next because it's there's only 4 hours of darkness up there or the summer solstice. So, yeah,
Man.
That was kind of a fun little thing to do.
The phrase, "I'd like a late tea time," carries new meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely. And, a funny thing about that, when I went to tee off, they said, or when I signed in, they said, you'll need bear spray because there's so many bears. This was in Anchorage, Alaska, and everybody has to take or buy bear spray. And then the guy said, if you hit the ball into the woods, just don't go get it for 2 reasons. 1, bears, obviously, and 2, poison oak.
You've convinced me.
So, guys, I lost 9 golf balls on that 18 holes. 9 golf balls because I took them dead serious, man. I wasn't taking one step into those woods.
You remember that one time we were up at Wasatch Mountain and you were looking for a ball by the woods and a deer jumped out and it just scared the crap out of you?
Yep. I'm afraid of my own shadow.
And
so
I'm over there laughing like crazy.
Oh, man. Can't take you anywhere, PK. It'll come back to haunt me.
All right, Jay, I think we've done enough damage here. PK's work is done. We will let you go. Go enjoy day 1 of yet another college football camp.
Yep, my 19th for covering BYU, so It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Now, how many years did you cover the high schools for? Because it seems like you're way past it now.
About 14, yeah.
Okay.
I think I was around 14 years I did high school, so, yep, been around a long time.
Jay, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Good luck. Enjoy the day.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There is Jay Drew. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
The NFL transaction wire had Aaron Donald working out with the Rams today, which I guess...
Did it come across as a tryout?
It did come across as a
Best tryout that we've ever had.
Okay. You think he could make the team?
Phenomenal.
I think he could make the team.
The kid's got a shot.
Yeah, no, that was honestly our way of being able to get a workout with him within the parameters of what's necessary. But Gift Smith said it's the greatest tryout he's ever had.
Rams coach Sean McVay on Aaron Donald's tryout with the Rams. Seems like it's a done deal. They haven't announced it. It seems inevitable. When will they bring him back? Will he be here for the start of the season? Going to bring him back part way through the season. Older guy. Want him for the playoffs. I guess I wouldn't be surprised by just about anything they figure out there. But does it feel like it's a done deal to you, PK?
Well, we've been talking about it for a while, so I assume. But, nothing is done until it just is done. And at this point, it's not done, and I'm done talking about it.
Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, 2-year, $44 million contract extension with the team. He gets $39 million guaranteed in the deal. Incentives could actually push it to $47 million. He was third in the NFL in rushing last year, over almost 1,600 yards. He has put up some massive numbers for the Colts, 4 1,000-yard seasons. He's a beast.
He's a Jersey boy. That's why he's good.
Yeah, there he is. Where do you go to school?
Wisconsin.
There you go. Okay. Kansas City Chiefs will once again be playing in Arrowhead Stadium. Officially, it had been GEHA Field, Geha Field at Arrowhead Stadium. Sponsorship deal 2021. That's coming to a close, and they're building a new dome over on the other side of town. Of across the state line, so Arrowhead Stadium is back. Ravens give Zay Flowers 4 years and $140 million with $108 million guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, they're giving him his flowers.
Ha-ha, $108 million of them. Every buck is a flower. Free agent wide receiver Stephon Diggs set to join the Commanders. Goes to Washington on a one-year deal for $12 million. Play opposite Terry McLaurin. Homecoming for Diggs. He was born in the area, so he's going home. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
The Protect College Sports Act still awaiting a full vote in the United States Senate. The hope is there'll be a vote taken this week or on the weekend by the Assembly before they take a month-long summer break. Everybody needs a deadline, PK, and apparently they're going to be right up against this one.
The U.S. Senate, no less.
That's exactly it.
Not the Canadian.
No.
Not the Mexican.
Not state senates. The United States Senate.
Yeah, it's big time.
How many amendments? I mean, you know what it is now,
I think
but
there's
one of it'll be
24, 25.
25 amendments?
The Constitution? Yeah.
I meant to this, Bill.
Oh.
How many changes? You think you know what it is, but do you really know what it is? Does it change at the last second?
That's why I want them to employ you. Because you'll figure it out and I won't have to.
LSU completes a series of 2 meetings with top donors last night to outline what University President Wade Roos has billed as a first-of-its-kind revenue-generating proposal for athletics. The meetings were hosted by the governor at the governor's mansion, outlining the potential creation of an LSU-controlled limited liability corporation that could generate sustained revenues through targeted investments.
It's so typical. The guy gets into politics and he's the governor, and now he has a mansion. I hate that. The common guy is out.
DJ and PK. The common guy has been out, yeah.
Hashtag NBA.
Dylan Brooks gets a contract for the Suns. 3 years, $73 million. Key part of the Suns' rotation last year, averaged a career-high 20 points per game. So Dylan Brooks, 3 years, $73 million.
Yeah, good for Dylan, man. It didn't matter in March that he got arrested for DUI. That don't matter.
Wait it out. Get the contract extension a few months later.
Yeah, they're excited to have him.
Denver Nuggets further entrenching themselves as the lone NBA team in the second apron with the signing of Lonnie Walker IV. He returns to the NBA after playing in Israel professionally this past season. So he's back. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
The pitch is swung on and driven high into right field. Is it deep enough? It's back. Adios! He does it again. Willier on another heater. And it's 2-0 Red Sox.
He is taking that pitch now over and over. Deep drive to right. Going back is Tucker. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. Pete Crow Armstrong. A 2-run homer. Cubs lead 5-1.
And Ohtani swings, lifts it deep to left field. That ball headed back to the wall. It is gone. A home run for Ohtani. His second of the ball game. Ohtani with a 2-run blast. And it's a 1-run ball game, 7-6.
That was the final score. Despite 2 home runs from Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers come up short. A 5-run 8th inning made it close, but they fall to the Cubs 7-6. They get swept. Again, they got swept by the Red Sox. Now the Cubs have dropped 6 in a row. Pete Crow Armstrong. Home run, double, home run, 4 ribbies, 3 extra base hits. He had quite the game.
Yeah, they slid him over to DH. Didn't have to patrol center field. He come through. They sweep him. Dodgers now the 3rd best record in the National League. Not first, not second.
Boston Red Sox have won 30 of their last 35 games. They sit on a 7-game win streak. They shut out the Chicago White Sox 4-0. The Red Sox on fire, PK. 30-5.
Yeah, well, if you won 30 out of 35, it would be 30-5.
Rare for the Boston Red Sox. They're now 11 games over 500. Also, the Yankees beaten by the Cardinals. 3-1 the final score. The Cardinals almost back to 500, trying to get in that National League wildcard race, chasing the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, who have the last two spots. Diamondbacks 10-4 over the Padres. They've taken 2 out of 3, fourth game in that series coming up today.
Yeah, well, it's good news for the Padres because once a team scores 10 runs, they score 1 or 2 the next day.
Nice. You got to get a split and get out of there. Padres were hot, but it was bottom of the league. Playing a better team now. See if they can salvage the split today.
Yeah, well, maybe Diamondbacks can win like 3-2 or something. But usually that happens if you have a big offensive night the next game. It peters out a little bit. We'll see how it goes tonight.
Salt Lake Bees lose to Oklahoma City 10-6. Losses piling up. They're at the ballpark tonight, 6:35. That wasn't the final last night. Wasn't it like 12-2 last night? Yeah, 12-2 last night, I think. They got blown out. So that is now 9 straight losses, and they'll play again tonight at 6:35. DJ and PK.
#golf.
Wyndham Championship this week. Sedgefield Country Club, Greensboro, North Carolina. Getting underway today. Tony Finau, Patrick Fishburne, Zach Blair, and Kihei Kina as the locals in the field. Kihei, the name on the rise, PK. Big-time high school golfer, big-time college golfer, and now getting to the PGA Tour pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, he played at the Black Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And,
getting some sponsor exemptions.
Yeah, he's still a youngster. Yeah, I talked to his high school coach about him when he was even younger. Told me to keep an eye on this kid. And so far, so good. The progression is being made.
Live Golf has funding from an outside investor that'll keep the circuit alive beyond this season, according to league CEO Scott O'Neill. O'Neill did not identify the investor or how much money will be injected into Live, but they hope to finalize the terms, close the transaction next month. That's what's trending. Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Brett Ciancia, Pick 6 previews. We'll talk football with him at 7:30. Kelly Poppinga, BYU defensive coordinator, coming up at 9 o'clock. And it's an RSL Thursday. We got tickets to go to the game Saturday night. If you want to see RSL in Leagues Cup action, we'll give those away in the 8 o'clock hour. DJ and PK, the question of the day is next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
From top to bottom, this is the most talented team the Kalani Sitake's ever had at BYU. And that includes his first year when he had Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams. This is as good of a complete team. Now, I know there's some question marks at wide receiver. Totally get that. But I also look at it from the depth. They've got it. The quality, the high-end players, they've got it. I just think this team is absolutely loaded, and we're going to see it on display.
And the questions will get answered quickly. The receivers that you choose have to go out on the field, and they have to run their routes and catch balls, and they catch balls and make plays. You'll start to get to know them better. They'll become more than just a name on a page. And then on Utah's side, nationally, both teams ranked in the top 25. BYU considered a contender, and Utah a dark horse. You guys are in the conversation. Now it's just go do it.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
BYU coach is saying this is the fastest, most athletic team they have had. What does it mean for the Cougars this season?
I'm going to go Old Man Mara.
New York Giants on it? Oh, okay. Colts coach.
Yeah.
Playoffs? Aaron says, show me, don't tell me. Well, they're allowed to
have games first.
I know they're allowed to do interviews. You can't just I'm not answering a question. We haven't played a game yet. That wouldn't go over very well.
Right.
But I do get your frustration, Aaron. Oh, boy.
Why is there frustration?
Opening day hype frustrates people. Every team, every year.
No. It's not every year, every team. No, I disagree.
This quote comes from, we were talking to defensive coordinator Kelly Poppinga, and it started with you referencing conversations you had with him more than a decade ago when he left for Virginia and they found out how the other half lived. Like, you have what for facilities? You have what for money? You have what for support staff? Holy cow. BYU was an independence, and they saw an ACC budget, and we're like, wow. And so he was talking about how everything is different, and in the NIL, it's just accelerating. But he was talking facilities, too. We were standing near the weight room.
Nutrition.
He pointed that out. And nutrition, sleep, science.
You have to have it all. Yeah.
He was just going down the list. And he says, and it's paying off. I think we have the biggest, strongest, fastest team here we've ever had.
A-Rod talked about it. Klein talked about the speed during his, I think it was about 12, 13 minutes that he spoke. He mentioned it. I have no problem with that. And they have told us that the Big 12 was a game changer. Brian Santiago has said that repeatedly. And so what does that mean? It's got to mean several different things. And what it needs to mean in the most important area is acquisition of talent. Right? You need that. That is a necessity. You can have the grittiest, toughest guys in the world who are walk-ons, and that's great. But you also need top-end talent. You need it all. And in order to get it all, you've got to, when you bring the young man in and his family or whoever's with him, what you show him has to minimally at least look like the other stuff that the other folks are showing him at the other places. It has to.
All that's true. And that means that what BYU needs to do is take the step forward in their fourth year now. In their fourth and fifth year here, they need to take step forward that the Utes took in the Pac-12 when they were just getting access to what was then Power 5 level money, television appearances, a schedule of opponents that tested people, access to bowls or playoffs that excite recruits. You got to cash in on all that. You ought to upgrade everything. And the Utes in year 4 and year 5 were getting bigger, faster, stronger, and winning more games. Now, it's a little apples and oranges, Power 4, Power 5 area. BYU maybe made a little bit of the transition as an independence, and it was a little bit of a bridge.
Actually, I think the throws took over. The throws of independence.
Oh, the early bridge, the early pump, but then after a while, dog days.
Yeah.
Felt a little bit like August in baseball.
Yeah.
Dog days. When do we get to it? When do we get to it? Well, now they're getting to it.
Yeah, they needed to get out. They did what they did to go in at the time, and it was the right move, clearly the right move. They couldn't stay in the mountain on the Mountain West. They had to do what they did, but it grew stale. In several reasons why Bronco left, but he was outspoken. This is not sustainable. He said it. As in classic Bronco manner, he'll tell you. He's got to pay attention to what he says. And at that point, when Kelly took off, they were in the throes of independence, and that had to end. And they thought it was going to end the next year. They got real close, but it didn't happen. And then we know when it happened, coming up on 4 years ago now. And so that has been the game changer that has allowed them to go after kids. And in conversations with A-Rod, Aaron Roderick, offensive coordinator, talking about how since he's been here recently, that nobody's ever said, no, don't go after this kid. We don't have a shot. Now they've got shots, and you're not going to land them all, obviously. And some kids aren't going to be interested in what BYU has to offer, and it's best that they're not interested in what BYU has to offer. But clearly, there's way more kids who are interested in what BYU has to offer now and are willing to come here and want to come here. And that has paid off in an increased level of talent. I mean, that's obvious when you look at these guys that they're bringing in. They normally didn't get those types of players, and now they are. And so for them to say this is basically only the third year of Kalani Sitake's reign, even though it's the 11th, right? Third or fourth, because they're in the Big 12 and recruiting changed. And then also, too, with the mission, so many kids go, so you have to give them an extra year or so compared to some of the other schools, certainly most of the schools in the country. So when you look at it, go fourth year basically since they've been in the Big 12, and I'm fine with that because they recruited to the Big 12, kids knowing they would go on missions, and when they came back, they'd be in the Big 12. Even though he's been there 11 years, you can argue this is, in a sense, the fourth year. And now's the time. The program has progressed. It's proceeded in an upward trend, and so then they tell you that. I don't see where that's frustrating. I actually think that is great because they're not saying it every year, and then they have a reason to say it now that you can trace back, and it makes sense.
Yes.
I don't think there's any but. You gave me a but. I'm not going to tolerate a but.
There's no. Okay. Yak stepped away for a second to do something. He just walked back in front of the window, and that look on your face, like, what just happened? I was just gone for a second. Why can't you guys?
You
just
can
eat
argue
your food?
this is his fourth year, Kalani, and since they're in the conference, even though he's been there 11 years, and it makes sense that the program has advanced. And DJ says, well, yeah, and then I knew the butt is coming, and I'm not going to hear it.
Depending on how old Aaron is, let me click on this photo.
You will not qualify your statement with a butt.
Right,
Aaron,
so I went blah, 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 because I knew he was going to say butt.
Aaron's got to be 40. He might be, maybe he's pushing 50, whatever. So Aaron's been a fan for, 24 or 34 years, and this is the 24th or 34th time he's heard this.
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
He's heard first day camp hype 24, 34 years. Your point is, yes, you have, but now it's different. There is a foundation that these quotes are being built on that makes sense, even if you heard it in 2018 or 2008
You did. When Bronco
whatever.
took over, I was a beat guy. I guarantee you his first year, this is the biggest, strongest team BYU's ever had. Fastest. He didn't say that.
But it's not just from the coaches. You hear hype about how good a team is going to be.
Well, the coaches are the ones that matter the most. What do I give a crap for Joe Fan, who's got some anonymous Twitter handle?
Depends on the coach and their style. Their coaches who downplay it. Lou Holtz and
we just
Nick
got
Saban
who cares what they are? We're talking about BYU. You're talking about one guy who's dead and one guy who's out of coaching. Who gives a crap what they think? We're talking about Kalani Sitake and the two coordinators. All three of them said it. And you go back to Lou Holtz, who's been dead.
For 30 years, Aaron's been listening to this.
Can we live now rather than 30 years ago?
You bring your past with you, and you do it as much as anybody. That's why we hear about Jersey all the time.
Yeah, but not when it's related to sports.
Oh, come on. We're talking sports in here all the time, and you bring up Jersey all the time.
Because it's a joke.
Uh-huh. Nick says...
I don't use it to make points.
Being as they have never been an athletic team, it shouldn't be that hard to be the most athletic. Nick, downgrading BYU's athletic ability. That's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? I think
there's a bunch of white Mormon guys. Yeah. That's the whole point.
But they've obviously had athletic guys. They've sent a bunch of guys to the NFL.
We're talking to skill positions. They don't roll out receivers. They don't roll out running backs. They don't roll out DBs. That's what we're talking about, the black guys. Can we get to the point
and we're also
rather than beat around the bush because we might offend somebody because we mentioned race?
And we're also talking about you've had stars at the top, but have you had the depth to get through seasons, or do you get beat up because you don't have the second and third string guys? You got 15, 20, 25 guys at the top of the roster.
That's
but
all.
When you get down to 35 or 40, do you have it?
They say they do.
And they say they do now.
So I'm supposed to not listen to them? I'm supposed to say, well, that's cliche. I have known, I literally covered all three of these guys as players. So that means I've known them for almost 30 years as your guy that you just quoted.
Brett Ciancia joins us now from Pick Six Previews. Brett, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's a busy time of year here with Pick Six Previews. The 2026 magazine is rolling off the printing press, shipping across the country, and we have a lot to break down. So excited to be back on with you guys, talking some BYU, talking Big 12.
Yep. Utah and BYU fans are listening, and they are curious, where do you believe they stack up? Obviously, new coordinator on the defensive side of the ball at BYU, and the Utes with Kyle Whittingham leaving. That's a major change. Morgan taking over. What do you think? Where do they stack up in the Big 12? Who are they? Who's right there with them?
Well, I think it's Texas Tech at the top. They're the defending champions, and I was surprised to see it at Big 12 Media Days. The coaches didn't pick Texas Tech to win it. Maybe that's some off-the-field politicking going on, but in terms of talented rosters, I think you got to start with Texas Tech. We all saw it last year, 11-1 in the regular season. All 11 wins were by double digits. And if you track against the spread kind of stuff, they were unbelievable there, 11-1. The markets couldn't catch up to them, how dominant they were. So very solid season last year. They bring a lot back. They reloaded again from the transfer portal, too, along that defensive line. That's the one question I've got. You send an all-time pass rush to the pros, all 4 guys drafted. But Joey McGuire claims he brought 4 new draft picks in. So we'll see if that's true along the defensive line. But really talented team. I have them number 1 in the conference, projected to go win it again. But then you've got the 2 Utah teams right there, 2-3. I've got the BYU second, Utah third, both in my top 25. And tell you what, guys, if you want an expanded playoff, you're going to basically get a playoff game there November 7th in Salt Lake City, because I think Utah is going to come in with a nice record, and same with BYU, and that could be for the spot against Texas Tech.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I would have gone with Texas Tech, too, in my mind, in our little unofficial polls that we do. They've done enough, and I saw Hammond go to Rice Eccles and look great as the quarterback. So, and now he's got I know he got injured and didn't get an opportunity to play that much, but he's got more experience in terms of knowledge, and I like him. So, in my mind, the question is, for the rest of the Big 12, and you've already brought up the 2 locals, is who is closing the gap, if they are, if any, and how much are they closing it? Because you've got to close that gap with Texas Tech, and obviously they've got the financial wherewithal to be able to do that. You know, we were told that last year BYU's NIL budget was akin to what Texas Tech paid that defensive line, meaning the defensive line for Texas Tech got all the money that is BYU's entire NIL budget. Oh. So financially, wow. It's going to be hard, and that was reaffirmed to us again this year when we were there in opening day of media availability and practice. So that's going to be hard. But do you think that any of these teams, and you've already mentioned a couple, so I assume you think maybe that BYU and Utah, but speak to that. Or how can these teams, are they closing the gap between them and what Texas Tech is doing?
Yeah, well, I think both the teams we talked about, BYU and Utah, they played them tough for the first half and then into the second half as well. I was down there in Lubbock for the first matchup last year, the Texas Tech BYU College Game Day game, and BYU was physical right there with them. It was a lot of red zone wins for them to keep the score in check, but there's a lot of work I think they have to do on the skill positions at receiver. That's one spot I have a question about with BYU, but in general, guys, it wasn't that loud of an offseason in terms of big transfer signings or huge recruiting classes, although it was a nice recruiting class. But, in terms of transfers, there wasn't too many headliners. But what stood out to me with BYU, which was impressive, was the retention piece of this, the bringing your returning starters back, keeping them in Provo. I talked to Coach Kalani Sitake, too, in the preseason for the research for my book, and he harped home on that, too. The player retention, the culture, all those buzzwords. But I think it was 12 guys, 12 BYU players that could have gone to the transfer portal. All 12 returned to Provo. I cover all 68 Power 4 teams. That's very rare to see. Usually you have a couple guys, if not a mass exodus at some places. So that was impressive. That speaks to the culture of BYU. You watch them play, the physicality is certainly there in the trenches, the front seven, the offensive line. That's just how BYU and Utah, to that degree, how those programs have been built. So if you want to close the gap, I think you find it with a second-year quarterback, Bear Bachmeier. You usually see a big gain from first year to second year as a Power 4 starter. Remember, he was thrown in as a true freshman with no spring ball. I mean, it was unbelievable that he was able to start with just a few weeks of practice. So I look for a big gain from Bachmeier. You get L.J. Martin back at running back, big offensive line. I like the linebacking core a lot. In fact, I've got them in my national top 15 in terms of units. Love the linebackers. You get Glasgow back, signed arguably the top linebacker in the country with Cade Ulave coming in. So there's a lot of pieces here to like. That's why I've got the number 2. That's why I've got them playing Tech again. And maybe third time's a charm, guys.
Yeah.
I'm curious who you think the fourth team might be and who might beat any of these three teams, because even one loss somewhere, one surprise might knock you out of that Big 12 title game as those three teams scramble for it. TCU plays all of them. Kansas State, maybe we should look at them getting in the title game because they don't play any of the three of them. Arizona's got their quarterback back. Houston's coming off a good season. They're in a talent-rich area. They did win a lot of close games last year. I'm just wondering how you analyze this next tier of teams and who might be in the mix with the other three.
Yeah, well, every year with the preview magazine, there's always seems to be one spot within one of the conferences where it's a log jam of teams and it's really hard to pick. And this year in 2026, it was this exact spot, the middle of the Big 12, talking from 4th to maybe even 11th, that jam-packed part of the Big 12. All talented teams, all top 40 caliber, and all could push into the top 25 if a couple wins go their way. But I went TCU, and I think this is going against the curve here. I don't see anybody else with TCU this high. I went with them 4th in the conference, 25th nationally on the top 25 board. And what I like about them, it wasn't too much transfer activity. What it was, it's been high school recruiting. Now, if you take Texas and Oklahoma out of the old Big 12 standings because they're no longer in the league, if you look at current Big 12 teams, TCU is the number one high school recruiter in 23, in 24, and in 25. So they have this pipeline of high school talent that they've been recruiting, developing, retaining. And now, it might not be the most proven names out there. It's not the incoming All-American transfers, but they have a solid, talented roster. You look at their receiver core, ton of 4-stars there. The pass rush looks elite. And then we'll see about this quarterback, Jaden Craig. But if I had to pick a team to go 4th, I'm going TCU. And I think they play both BYU and Texas Tech. So that could be a little thorn in the sides there during the season. So look at TCU as a team. It'll be a tough challenge. From there, you can make the case for so many. Real quick, you've got Kansas State in a coaching transition season with Colin Klein coming home. Easiest schedule in the league, though. They miss all three. They miss Texas Tech, miss BYU, miss Utah. With Arizona, I love Fafita, the quarterback, but they lost their elite pass secondary on defense. All 4 guys were drafted, so I think you're going to see a step back from them. And Houston, this is a team we all differ on. I mean, they were strong last year, 10 wins. 7 games were 1-score wins, though. And I don't think that really tends to flip I think it tends to regress year to year. So too tight of margins for me to really call for a run back of a 10-win season. So there you got it. I got TCU 4th. But really, guys, November 7th, I've got it circled. I know everyone in your state on both sides of the rivalry have that date circled. And if you look at Utah's schedule, the way it plays out, it's very backloaded, meaning I think they're going to be 8-0, and I don't think it's a hot take that they should be 8-0 or at least 7-1 heading into that matchup with BYU. So that's going to have title stakes on the board and should be a ranked matchup and all those good things.
Yeah, you know your stuff, Brett. You're all over it. I can't disagree with anything that you've been saying. That's the way we forecast it, particularly with Utah. It does look like there's a decent chance, minimally, that they are 7-1 if you just look at the schedule and you look at the talent that they've got coming back. But that's the thing that I like about the Big 12. The other conferences, particularly the 2 at the top, tend to be a little more predictable, and it's only been just less than a handful of years that this conference in its existence with these teams. But we've had surprises since Utah's only been in. This is going into the 3rd season, obviously, with the Pac-12 schools, and it's been surprising to see teams each year, good or bad. Obviously the Devils got on top out of nowhere, and then people weren't picking BYU last year with the quarterback situation, and they still got to the final. So that's what makes this conference interesting, as opposed to, okay, who's Ohio State going to play in the Big Ten final? Is it going to be Indiana, Oregon, maybe Michigan? I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But for this conference, and maybe Texas Tech has established itself and it's no longer predictable, but it does seem like there could be 3 or 4 surprises, even as we follow this conference with everything we have, knowing that we still leave that open. And you just named 4 or 5 teams, at least for me, and get your thought on it. That's what I like about this conference, is that we have these educated guesses, I guess, but we're not really sure, and it's more fun that way.
Well, I mean, if you look at recruiting rankings, a lot of the teams are in a similar, group of rankings there. They're bringing in similar talent. The transfer portal has really been the wild card move, because that's where teams can upgrade or downgrade almost instantly and come out of nowhere in shock. I mean, if you look at two examples this year, I didn't talk about them, but Arizona State, again, leveraged the portal. They might have as many as 17 transfer starters on their team. So your guess is as good as mine on how that's going to look. If that was a home run, all these players are hits, and that could be a playoff contending team. But if not, they could go 4-8. So teams like that, Oklahoma State, same deal. Their head coach brings up the entire offense from North Texas that led the country in passing and scoring. Right. So you think that offense is set. You're going to see old shootouts again from them. We'll see about the defense. But, yeah, I agree with you. I'm sitting here in Pennsylvania. I'm deep in Big Ten country. But when I watch the Big 12, I really enjoy it. I mean, you have so many different styles of play. I think it's really entertaining football. The lines are close. The games are always one score. They're late fourth quarter games. The fan passion is certainly there, and I don't think it gets enough credit, too. And, you always hear about the big ones like Ohio State and Penn State, but you watch a game that's in Provo or Salt Lake City, literally the camera is shaking on big plays. Like, you can feel the vibration here from your living room. So I have a lot of respect for the fans across the conference. You don't find that in the ACC. You don't see the camera shaking at Wake Forest or Boston College. I don't if they even have cameras there. So I love this conference. I'm not just saying it because I'm on your show. I've been saying it all off season for years. It's a very interesting, intriguing conference. That's why I went down to Lubbock last year. I had to go see it live. So I want to get out to more. I got to get out to Utah and see a game. But it's a very entertaining brand of football.
Brett Ciancia joining us, Pick Six previews. The conference games, especially the rivalry here, everybody's just on edge, at each other's throats and all that trash talk and all that kind of stuff. But here at the start of the season, with a lot of non-conference games, this has been a one-bid league. And we followed the Pac-12 for years. It was always the knock on it. There was a zero-bid league. They were getting 0 teams into the 4-team playoff. Now the Big 12 is getting 1 into the 12-team playoff, and it looks like, the weak sister out of the Power 4. So the question is, can they win either enough total non-conference games that can't be ignored? Can they win a marquee games so they can't be ignored? It doesn't look like there are that many marquee games. Some of them, ASU's biting off a lot going to Texas A&M. That's a massive challenge. Oregon and Oklahoma State. Yikes. That 2 games into the rebuild with a new coach, you're playing the Ducks, so good luck with that. Obviously, BYU Notre Dame, a massive game. Can they clean up on enough of the Utah versus Arkansas where it's just overwhelming? I think the conference has 4 or 5 games against the ACC. I don't think you get a lot of TCU beats North Carolina. But if you win all those games, maybe it adds up to something. What do you think about the ability of the league in September to build a rep and get a second or third team? Third seems crazy, into the playoffs.
Yeah, that goes a long way because, perception-wise or whatever metrics they look at, it looks like the SEC and the Big Ten, for whatever reason, they have a head start here. They're getting 2, 3, 4, even 5 the SEC last year teams into the bracket. So for the Big 12 and really the ACC, for that matter, to punch back and earn some more credibility, you got to win those non-conference games. And in BYU's case, you got a big one. You got Notre Dame. This is kind of put up or shut up for the conference, those kind of opportunities. And so Notre Dame's probably the most impressive non-conference game, and it happens to be on BYU's schedule. You mentioned a couple more. I think Baylor plays Auburn. UCF plays, I think, Pittsburgh. And, these are just Power 4 versus Power 4. You want to clean up as many as you can, because at the end of the day, that's all going to be used as firepower for your resume. But I think the best case is, this might sound crazy, but to get 2 teams in the conference, I think you need Tech to pretty much go 12-0. Go into that conference title game looking like a top 5 team in the country, and then have the number 2 team upset them in Dallas, because there you're granted the automatic bid for the team that pulled the upset. So like a BYU, a Utah, a TCU, that'd be an auto bid. And I think a 12-1 Texas Tech would still be a strong enough resume to get in there as a conference runner-up. So it reminds me a little bit of March Madness when you hear about those conference tournaments, the bid stealers, where a team that wouldn't have been in the bracket wins the conference and gets the auto bid. That's kind of, I think, the path for the Big 12 and really the ACC for that matter right now, to ensure that you get 2 in the bracket, because we've seen the committee rule against very capable 2-loss teams from these leagues. BYU, an example last year, 2 losses, both were to Texas Tech. One was in the postseason, and they were held out of the bracket. Miami 2 years ago, similar deal. I think they went 10-2, had a nice resume. They were kept out. So if you lose a second game, I don't trust the committee to value the Big 12 and the ACC. You got to go win that conference auto bid.
Yeah, I think that's a fact. So I wouldn't trust them either. I'm wondering what you think. So much hype. Everything Deion Sanders does is big news, right? It just doesn't matter because of who he is and his ability as just a magnet for media attention. And last year, the health issue with him was extremely real. There's no question about it. At the same time, they had a crappy team. And so it was going into his fourth season, and he's had two crappy teams and one decent season. And so for now, it seems like the pressure's on. What do you make of that situation?
Yeah, well, every year is different with Colorado. And actually, in past years, I've written up their first draft of their team preview. And then after spring ball, 50 guys leave. I had to just delete the whole page and start over from scratch. It's like unbelievable, the player movement up there. Now, this time around, at least there was no second transfer window. So the players that came in the door in December and January, at least you're getting them to kickoff. So, maybe a little bit of player retention in a way for a couple extra months than usual for Colorado. But that said, it was another top 25 transfer class. That marks 4 straight for Colorado. Maybe they were able to retain them this time around, but they have too many questions for me to be considered a contender. Both lines of scrimmage look, they're question marks for me. I don't see any reason to pick them higher than towards the bottom of the conference. I like the quarterback with Lewis. I think that he makes some good throws, maybe some questionable coaching last year. You saw clips out of media day that they weren't even watching film. Unbelievable to think that in 2026 that was the case, but who knows? So they do have some talented players here and there across the roster, receiver, quarterback, but as a complete starting 22 and then a 2-deep 44, I just don't see it. So until proven otherwise, I've got them down towards the bottom of the conference.
There are multiple teams that went deep into the transfer portal. You've mentioned Oklahoma State, new coach, brings a lot of guys. Iowa State's got a new coach, bringing a lot of guys from Washington State. Rich Rod is going full Deion deep into the transfer portal for his second year on the job at West Virginia. You mentioned Colorado and ASU as well. Are there any teams beyond Texas Tech? Are there any teams that went in the transfer portal where you think, there's no way to know, but I got to keep my eye on them because I think there's a pretty good chance this team has come up big in the portal?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State, you got to start there. It's the team that most of the staff and the players were at North Texas last year and put up top 5 passing numbers, top 5 scoring numbers. You got an NFL quarterback with Drew Mestamaker and bringing everybody with him, bringing his all-conference running back, his receivers, his linemen, and, of course, the scheme that got them there with Eric Morris. And I talked to Coach Morris. I asked him about the transition up from the AAC to the Big 12, and he kind of chuckled and said, hey, I was born in the Big 12. He's got roots here. He's a Texas Tech alum and former coach, and his track record of building elite offenses is unmatched right now. Now we'll see how it translates up. But I love that offense a lot. I think it does translate 1-to-1. I think they're going to be a team that scores 30, 45 points a game, but can they stop anybody? So that's where I have my questions. Look for some old 2010s Big 12 shootouts there in Stillwater, again, like the old days. But, hey, I'll say this, most improved offense in America for sure. They were dead last. They're going to be one of the best this year and should be one of the most improved teams. 1-11, awful season last year. I think they make a bowl. So not a playoff contender, but certainly one of the most improved from 25 to 26.
All right, this bugs my radio partner, but I'm going to do it anyway. Since you're a Philly area guy, I'm born and raised in North Jersey. A lot of experience in South Jersey. So my Jersey Shore of choice is Ocean City. What's yours?
Right next door, Sea Isle City, New Jersey. Yeah, love it. Ocean City, you got Mac and Manco's Pizza.
Oh,
you got the boardwalk.
Here we go.
Yeah, the Music Pier.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful town, great family town. You got the Wonderland over there. So, yeah, that's a classic Jersey boardwalk talk. I'm a one town south of you in Sea Isle. We've got more of a restaurant, maybe a bar scene. No boardwalk, unfortunately. I'd love to get one like that. But, hey, South Jersey Shore, man, the best spot on earth.
I'm with
what
you,
is
Brett.
that? What is the food that's got the two different names depending on where you're from?
Pork roll or tailored ham?
Yeah. Look at him.
This is awesome. I didn't expect this on Utah radio.
Nobody
That's
does.
why
from
he
back
does it.
east.
That's why he does it. The number of times we broken down pork roll, I just can't. I don't even have words for it. I went to college to do this.
It's pork roll in South Jersey, Taylor ham in North Jersey. How many times I got to tell you?
About 500,000.
My sister went to Glassboro, which has now been renamed Rowan, but
sure.
I've got my brother, my best man at my wedding, grew up in West Deptford, is in the West Deptford High School Hall of Fame. So I got those roots, and I researched who you are, and you really know your stuff. I got to give you credit. So pump your magazine again, because if it's anything like what you've been saying on the radio, it is certainly worth the time and effort and money to get it.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, well, it's called Pick Six Previews. It's available at pick6previews.com. We've got the digital copy, but also the hard copy this year, spiral bound. They're coming off the printing press, shipping them across the country. It's a one-man show. It's all me. I do all 68 Power 4 teams. Talking to head coaches, talking to coordinators, watching spring games. I've got my advanced numbers in the book, but putting it back into a readable format, the narrative, the X's and O's, really the storylines for the season. So, hey, a lot of transfer movement, all these teams. It's a good way to get caught up. Get excited for the season, bring it to the beach, the lake, the couch. But yeah, thanks guys for having me on, and maybe I'll send you a picture down from the shore this weekend.
Very nice.
There you go.
Absolutely.
All right. Put it up on social media and tag us. This is for Utah. All right, Brett. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Beach tags. I'll never get that, man. Paying to go to the beach. I grew up in California. The beach is free. I don't get it.
It's worth it, though.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I love the beach. I just had a chance to do a little beach time in Oregon, and the water's too cold and all that, but it still smells great and looks great and sounds great, and yeah.
Yeah, the Atlantic is never too cold. It's always funny when we get those guys from back there, and they on Utah of all places.
Utah, what? What? All right, reacting to what Brett just said, we will do that next. He dropped a few nuggets, confirmed some of what we thought, and also brings up some of the problems with these massive leagues, which apparently we're stuck with for the foreseeable future. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think the Jazz want to make the playoffs this year, and they really have no motivation for not making the playoffs this year because their draft pick goes to the Memphis Grizzlies in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. How motivated are the Jazz actually going to feel to maximize the win total of this roster using all the assets available to them to get there? My guess is it's actually not as high as fans would think because they don't have to do anything exactly right.
The truth is they are dedicated to it. But that doesn't mean they have to do anything about it right now.
Sure.
But no, not one person in that building, if you went up to him and said, hey, is the Bosnian Beak your answer at center? Not one of them is going to say yes.
Right. Or Jackson Hayes.
Or any of that. No, they're not.
Yeah.
So, yes, they do need to address the problem, for sure. Do they need to address it right now?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. No, why would they?
Catch Jake and Ben, afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Brett Ciancia just joined us from Pick Six Previews, talking Big 12 football. Oklahoma State, great story, PK. We love the stories, the coaching staff, and a big chunk of the offense coming over from North Texas. Who could they upset? How could they impact the race? Could they pull off a shocker? Well, they don't play Utah and BYU, so we'll just be watching them from a distance. These massive leagues with 16, 17, 18 teams, whatever. You just got to get used to not playing almost half the league, and both the Utes and Cougars are missing them. Could be an intriguing story this year.
Well, I think it will be. I don't think could. I think it absolutely will be.
NFL quarterback, Mastroeni going to get drafted?
Well, he's high on all sorts of lists. You can check that out for yourself if you want. But the thing about it, too, and it's not necessarily that they rack up the wins, is that you play teams tough. See, what you could do in the WAC and Mountain West when you were BYU and Utah, once Utah got it going on, is that most of the games you knew you were going to win, right? So you can take guys out. They don't have to play the entire time. They can literally sit out the second half. Or if somebody is banged up a little bit, you can sit them for a week and let them get healthy. Well, a team like Oklahoma State, I don't know necessarily, though, that you can do that. And so they may not win the game, but they extend you, and guys get bumps and bruises and get injured later in terms of the game, when if they'd be playing a cream puff, they would have an opportunity to rest. So you just don't look at the record and see, oh, wow, this team's good or bad. They're going to be improved. There's no question about it. Now, can they win how many games? That remains to be seen. And I think that's what you get a lot with this conference in particular, which is why Brett said the same thing I've been saying about Houston. You do not go out there and win a bunch of one-score games 2 years in a row. It normally doesn't work that way. That's why I had the Devils last year not being as good. Now, obviously, they had injuries, and so that added to it. But even still, I thought they were going to drop a peg or two because they won a ton of close games the year before, and that normally shakes out. And so that's why I'm not disrespecting Houston. It's just that I don't know that they're going to be necessarily, wow, what happened with Houston? They didn't really build on that. They're going to be good. There's no question about it. But when you win a bunch of one-score games, things tend to even out a little bit.
And ASU was good enough along the way to beat Texas Tech and give them their only loss in the 12-game regular season.
Yeah, when they had their guys.
Yeah. Be healthy that week.
Yeah.
And take somebody down.
Sure.
And I do wonder, listening to Brett, and it's interesting because he's in Pennsylvania. He vacations at your favorite beaches. And so he's not in the middle of all this. He's not emotionally involved. But he really did take the three and set them apart. Now, it's easy for us to say that, but, do we want to say that? Because we got two of the teams right here, and that means a great race and great stories into the last month of the season and all that kind of stuff. And he's sitting over there, and he's like, yeah, those are the three. And then you try to figure out who's going to rise up. So these 36 games they play, obviously they got to lose one because BYU plays Utah. But Texas Tech doesn't play any other. And I assume Notre Dame is going to be there's probably a line out already. If there will be soon. Notre Dame will probably be a favorite against BYU, maybe a pretty healthy favorite. But beyond that, could they go combine 33-3, 34-2? Can they set it up so their records are so good they can't be ignored, and you get multiple teams in out of the league for the first time?
Well, their records were so good last year.
They were pretty good, man. They were 22-2 going into that last game, and it
Utes
didn't
got
work.
no consideration.
Nope.
And BYU did a little bit.
Yeah, the three of them combined would have been 32-4 last year. And that wasn't good enough. But this year, with Texas Tech not playing BYU and not playing Utah, the numbers could be even more outrageous.
You're saying they could be astounding?
I thought about saying that, but I thought I'd stay away from triggering that because Yock's already told us to go to break.
It's just that now with those things that you point out, the expectation level is, well, you better do it.
Yeah, I get it. And I think there's a lot of that built into the non-conference season because Texas Tech does not have an interesting non-conference game. And multiple teams in the league don't. They don't play a Power 4 team. The Utes play one, but it's Arkansas, and it turns out Arkansas is coming in off a 2-10 season. So it's not like there's a lot of hype around that.
Right.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, Kelly Poppinga, BYU defensive coordinator. A conversation with him at 9 o'clock. It's an RSL Thursday. Got tickets to give away later this hour. Stick around. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Got a question up on our Facebook page. Many of you reacting to this, and we just talked with Brent Ciancia about it. Do you believe Utah and or BYU have done enough to close the gap with Texas Tech? Ken, how about no? Takes a lot of cookies to match up against West Texas Oil.
It do.
See what you did there, Ken. That was very nice. Well played. Earl.
He's right.
No. I think BYU's a bit closer this year, but I'd pick Texas Tech to win. But Cougs have a great chance. Go Cougs.
Okay, well, why'd you say no, and then you say they have a great chance?
Because he's trying to talk himself into it because he's a fan.
I think right now, today, they have as good a chance as anybody. I will say that.
Mickey says no, but maybe Texas Tech has slipped enough.
It's hard for me to imagine that Texas Tech is going to be as good as they were last year.
How can you put together that defense? You could have a good defense, but that defense was overwhelming.
Right. And it had, and not just, and it was, there's no question about it. And a lot of their guys were fifth-year guys.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the talent and
the experience.
Yeah.
And they were unblockable. Yeah. Watching those BYU and Utah games, and both those offensive lines had good years last year. Yeah, I think Utah had a great year. And both times, you're watching guys from Texas Tech just run into the backfield and blow up the play. I don't know what they were trying to do, but there was no time to do it.
So that's where I think that the gap can be closed a little bit, combined with the fact that you've got returning quarterbacks that now have been through it. This was their first time through it, so it stands to reason that they should be better. And I think that if the Utes had retained everybody from the coaching staff, then I'd be even higher on them. And it's not that I'm not high on the guys that they have, but I just think that there's a possibility for some growing pains, some adjustments, some types of stuff, because they're all going through it together. If you would have had Beck with Dampier, that would have been their third year. That's unheard of, which obviously it is unheard of because it didn't happen.
Thanks for explaining yourself.
Yeah. And we understand why it didn't happen. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to totally start from scratch. McGivern was talking about that yesterday in the Utes media availability. You can go hear the sound at KSLSports.com if you want to hear it for yourself. So from that perspective, that's why I'm still high on them. And I think maybe in my mind, and maybe it's wishful wanting it to happen, so I'm believing what I'm trying to see, and I haven't necessarily seen it yet, but I do think that both teams, if they get the opportunity, will be more competitive. And if they do get the opportunity, then it's for the whole thing. And that's what's really cool if they play. So if they get – and I believe one of them will play Texas Tech. If I'm betting right now, toss-up, I'd go 60-40 Cougars, maybe 65-35 Cougars, that they would be the team to play Texas Tech in Texas, Arlington, on that first Friday of December. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. And then we'll know for sure if it gets to that point that, yeah, the gap has been closed. We shall see.
Brian Tracy goes full Pablo Mastroeni here. He says both Utah and BYU just need to worry about themselves and show up for a full season. Texas Tech isn't on the schedule. They're the defending champs. You got PTSD from playing them last year.
I don't think they're worried about Texas Tech.
It figures that you could meet them in a conference title game, but you got 12 games, and you got to figure those out before you worry about Texas Tech. But you and I are going to sit here and talk about them.
Kelly Poppinga that very question, and he said, I'm not worried about them right now. They're over there, and if we get them, it's in the conference final. And he said, I don't know much about them. Well, if it comes to that, they'll know everything about them. They'll have 12 games of film, upside down, inside out. And so, yeah, I understand that. But they're still the team that you're chasing. Everyone is chasing them right now. When the Devils won the first year of the current existence of the Big 12, we didn't think that, okay, they're going to be the dominant team. We thought, okay, Kenny Dillingham's got it going on, and they're going to be better. They're going to be tough. We thought that. I think that's a fair assessment. But now that Texas Tech, they've each – Devils won one, Texas Tech won one, but we all think Texas Tech is the team to beat, even though last year we didn't think, well, that's the program to beat. And now we think with Texas Tech, that's the program to beat. It's what I talked about last summer. It's what I was concerned about.
Texas Tech has a ton of money, and in the transfer portal era, set aside the wins and the losses and the ability to game plan or to coach your guys up. Set all that aside for a second. In the transfer portal, Texas Tech routinely wins more than they lose. They have way more guys coming in than they have going out, and they hit on them. Then you look at ASU. When it comes to the big money guys, they lose. Mm-hmm. Now, they may win overall because they're good at assessing talent and they'll find guys up and coming. But when they got a quarterback and can do it, LSU and their $50 million budget gets them.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And Texas goes and gets their 1,000-yard running back, right? And you're losing to big brand, big money schools. Yeah. And Tech doesn't. Now, maybe partly Tech doesn't because they go out and get these fifth-year guys. And
well, I think that we'll see that it's not just the transfer portal. I don't think their program is built on transfer portals. It was last year, but I don't think going forward, because if you've been looking at the recruiting,
they're winning there too.
Yeah, and so they're now more about augmenting with the portal, which I think everybody should do, because if you're having to overhaul completely, then you're probably not going to be all that good. Now, some teams have to. Rich Rod had to. North Texas people coming over to Oklahoma State, they had to. But once you get past that, I think what you want is what we've seen from the two locals here. You're augmenting it, not relying on it for the bulk of your talent. And I think Texas Tech is in the process of moving in that direction because they've been getting a lot of better recruits that normally they wouldn't get. And it reflects it. I mean, they've had the history of the program. You can look at it. They had the nice run with Leach, and then it dropped off. Well, now why is it back? Cash. And they're one of these guys with these programs, like I said, they should be like the Dodgers. Say, yeah, we bought these players. Instead of trying to, no, anybody can. No, they can't. And you can. Good for you. You didn't break the rule. The NCAA is not hunkering down in Lubbock. So don't worry about it. That's the way you do it. And it's up to these other teams to close the gap. And I think you can close it because I don't think every single kid is looking for every last penny, especially the younger guys, because you go into it and you want to be a place you're going to be there 3 or 4 years or so, and you want to be a place where it's comfortable. The fifth-year guys, take the cash. You only got to be there 6 months. Who cares?
How hard is it?
Yeah, right. 6 months. It blows by so
and
quickly.
I think some of those questions, the historic questions, do I fit here? Do I like these coaches? I'm going to spend 4 years. I got to really make sure I'm on the same page. But a fifth-year senior has already had position coaches, coordinators, possibly head coach to change, and they then go in for 1 year. I know what I'm doing. Does this coach put guys into pros? Blah, 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 and away you go.
And am I getting paid?
And what's the money? Yeah, what's the money?
Yeah. So I think that's what you got there. And I think that's how BYU and Utah close the gap, is by getting these kids, building them up, coaching them up, those types of things, all those cliches, blah, 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 and away you go. And right now, considering the amount of talent that left the program, and I know Texas Tech can reload, I think they can close the gap. And I want to see it, too. I also want to see it. And in order to see it directly, it has to be a one-on-one matchup. And that'd be awesome. I'm actually rooting for Texas Tech to lose a few, and I want to see BYU and Utah play each other. That would be play twice in one season. That would be incredible.
Yeah. Play that first week in November, and then a month later, do it again.
That's the best case scenario for me.
We'll sign off on that right now.
Yeah.
But for that to happen, who's going to beat Tech? Because they don't play the Utes and Cougars, and most of the games they play against the next tier, they play at home. I mean, their conference road schedule is Colorado, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and Baylor. Now, Oklahoma State and Baylor are back-to-back weeks. Maybe that gets a little tricky. It does sometimes. You mix in a lot of travel and all that. But that's not exactly a difficult road schedule right there. You got major questions about multiple teams on that list. It's 5 home, 4 road, and the 4 road, Arizona State could be hard games. Houston could be a hard game, and all 3 of those are at home.
Mm-hmm.
So it really lines up for Tech.
It does. Yeah, well.
TCU, that could be another tough game, also at home.
Yeah, it looks like their home schedule is tougher than the road schedule. But, one turned ankle can change everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, we thought they were going in the year with 2 good quarterbacks. Now they're going in with 1 good quarterback, and he's coming off an injury. And
the kid from Tulsa did play, and, I think that for a short time he can help you. So I don't think that it's completely total, oh my gosh, what do we do now? So but that's the reality of it, and you've got to find a way if it should come to that, or if it doesn't come to that where you beat them, that you've done enough to be able to get yourself an at-large bid. That that can happen too.
12-1. I mean, if you're 11-1 and you don't make, let's say BYU. Let's say BYU gets the big win, beats Notre Dame, but they lose to Utah. They're 11-1, and Utah's playing Texas Tech in the conference title game.
Well, depending on what what that game looks like, then
could BYU get in without even being in the conference title game?
Yes, I'll scream from tops of the mountains. If you go to Rice-Eccles and lose a close one, and they
after
tend to be
beat
Notre Dame and handle everybody else, yes, that would be a joke. 11-1 and you're not in, that would just be an absolute joke. That if I'm your Mark, I'm going to their stuff is based in Texas, and I think that's where they end up meeting. I storm that committee room and I start chucking computers against the wall. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. If it came to that.
Now, the flip side, if it's the Utes who lose the game to BYU and they win every other game and they're 11-1, but they don't play Tech and they lose.
Tell me what the game looked like.
Yeah.
Again, if it's 42-10, that's another story.
Yeah.
That's why BYU had no leg to stand on last year.
So lopsided.
Yes, 63-14, I think it was. Yes, so you don't even necessarily have to win. That in a form is respect to me. So BYU last year had an opportunity to gain respect, but they couldn't do it. And what I mean by that is I think they could have gotten way more serious consideration and discussion to get in if it would have been 27-24. But it was a blowout. They bounced the ball all over the turf. We know what happened, and I get Bachmeier was banged up and dinged up, but the committee, like, you just can't. You can't. If you make excuses or make allowances, if you want to call it, for one, then you got to go down that road and do it for everybody. It's much easier to say, you got rolled both times, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. It would have been interesting if it would have been 5 minutes to go and a one-score game. But it wasn't. It was garbage time the fourth quarter. And they threw in some turnovers late in that game, too, to make it even worse. So they didn't give themselves a chance, but they had the chance to get respect. Now come back this year and be in that position to, you don't necessarily have to win all your games. The thing would be is if you lost to Notre Dame and maybe lost to Utah. Suppose you lost to both of those teams super close.
I'd like to make the argument, but at 10-2, it just feels like we've seen too many two-loss teams bounced.
But you've got two losses, close losses to two top 15 teams, and in the case of Notre Dame, probably a top 5. Maybe Utah top 10. And what would that be? I think they can get some run, as long as you played those games extremely close. I just don't see, if you don't have any other losses along the way, that if you go to Rice-Eccles and lose a close one, you should be penalized that much. And the committee certainly understands the nature of that game. Come on, of course they do. If they didn't, they should be fired from their jobs that I don't think they get paid for anyway. So they shouldn't be allowed. You should know that that game often is a toss-up. Emotions are crazy. Fans are crazy. Blah, blah, blah. And that's why I thought the year before they should have got more consideration. I mean, they managed to go. But I guess Utah being 5-7, that's probably what hurt them. They really didn't get credit for that dramatic win because the Utes weren't, record-wise, of the circumstances, weren't good enough. So you need those other teams. Any team you beat this year, you want them to be good because that's going to help you. This is, in a sense, the strength of the opponent now in a basketball way. Until we expand it to 24, that's what you need. So whoever you beat, you need them to be good. Beating a 5-7 Utah team did nothing for you 2 years ago.
Because so many teams did it.
In terms of the committee trying to get an at-large bid.
Part of that.
I don't see how you can argue that.
It's not debatable.
Right.
I mean, you were part of a team's 7-game losing streak while they went through 4 or 5 different quarterbacks. So,
yeah.
And one of the guys who was supposed to play as we went down the depth chart didn't play because he was already hurt. I think they played 4, but I think they missed 5.
I think Brandon Rose played that game, who threw passes to Tiger Bachmeier in high school, and Bear Bachmeier was Brandon Rose's backup.
Go figure.
Small world.
Small world. Yeah. Tiger filled us in on all of that.
I think that's Marietta. I think I knew that, but it's they're all from Marietta, right?
They're from like some small town nearby, but yeah, they go into Marietta High School, Vista Marietta, or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
takes in the greater Marietta metropolitan area.
I wouldn't go metro area. I've been there, but it's decent enough,
yeah.
And it's close to everything else too.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Cougars opening practice yesterday. We spoke with Kelly Poppinga. You'll hear that conversation at 9 o'clock. After the break, we'll give away tickets to see RSL. If you want to go out to games Saturday night, stick around. That's right after the break, right here in the Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Joining us now, it is the head coach of the Utah State Aggies, Bronco Mendenhall.
I know you're so process-driven and there's a plan to every part of the season, but is this your favorite part?
There's an excitement that comes to the start of every season for sure. I would have to say, just in terms of full transparency, I really like the off-season. I like the molding, forming, crafting, forging the next team through the weight workouts and through the runs and through the early morning workouts and through spring practice. I think that's my favorite era. Nothing takes away from the season, or can it take the place of the season, and the excitement going into today certainly at a really high level. I think foundationally that my favorite part is the formation of the team, and now this part where you get to see kind of the fruition of the formation of your program.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Now at McDonald's, get a $5 McChicken meal deal or a $6 McDouble meal deal. They come with small fries, a soft drink, and 4-piece McNuggets. We're going to need a bigger tray. Get more value with your meal deal with McValue.
Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains August 7th through the 13th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
It's August, PK. All the writers on all the major websites have got to come up with something. And they come up with a lot of lists. CBS Sports with a list of the Big 12 coaching rankings. Your guy, Kenny Dillingham. Number 4, the biggest riser in the Big 12 a year ago, holds steady after validating ASU's rapid turnaround. Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, number 3. I guess they have so much money, it's really hard to impress as a coach and get all the credit for all the wins because everybody's looking at the money. Willie Fritz at Houston, number 2, getting them to double-digit wins. He came in with a good rep, and he has improved that rep with a good season. And at number 1, ranked number 12 nationally, Kalani Sitake at BYU. They're doing those rankings. Can't ignore the fact Penn State went after him, and that was a story nationally for a little while until he decided to stay.
Well, it'll be a story again this year.
Waiting to see what comes open.
Yeah,
somebody will come after him.
We don't know what's going to be open.
Right. Early speculation already centering on USC.
His name will be
around something
in the Majerus format. Now, if he keeps turning him down, then eventually Majerus petered on that. Yeah. Because it was clear he wasn't going to go. And so for here, Kalani, and Kalani's a lovable dude. Majerus, he was quirky, minimally. I could go worse than that. I can tell you a million stories. But Kalani's not like that. I mean, I watched him yesterday go around and make sure everybody got some form of a salutation. That means greetings, Ute fans, for every person media-wise who was there. I mean, we're interviewing Poppinga. He gives me, the hey, because he got done. He was walking in the locker room, And so he gives me like the heads up, catches my eye. Well, that's not good enough. Then he's got to come over, and he's not going to interrupt the interview, and he's got to give you bones, right? That's just who the guy is. So the dude is lovable, but yet he is also he's won. And you ultimately, a coach is going to be judged by his record. But I think that from that perspective, if they win again this year, which we expect them to do, BYU is going to have to go through that again. And that's the old Chris Hill theory that, well,
that's what you want.
If they come after you, that means you're doing well. And so, and Chris was right about that. So with this in mind here, the way I look at it is, what have you done with everything that's available to you? Not how much have you won, but what have you done with what is available? I mean, Ryan Day, okay, he's winning, but everybody wins there.
Congrats. Get in line.
That doesn't mean he's not a great coach. It's just that he may not get the run there that he would if he went to Purdue and did what he did, or any of those other Michigan State, you name it. So for here, yeah, I've got no problem with that list. And Morgan, he should be at the bottom because he hasn't done anything yet.
They got him next to last.
Well, he should be.
Yeah, and the two guys at the bottom are brand new coaches. And they ranked him 15th because he coached one game, and they looked good doing it, and they won the bowl game and all that. And there's only one coach in the league who's never coached one game.
Klein?
So you put him at number 16.
Yeah.
And then there's one guy who's coached one game.
A great coach.
15. Right. Now, there's a couple other new coaches, but obviously, they're coming in from North Texas, Washington State. They got a track record to grade those guys on. So basically, it was like the two guys who got incompletes were put down at the bottom of the list.
I think that if you want to evaluate Kalani Sitake, there's very different ways to evaluate these guys these days. And one of the things that really, really screams to me what he's got going is talk to guys that are in the program, but they're on the edges, their support staff. How do those guys, what do those people think of him? And we've had the opportunities to do that.
Yes. Well,
and then also, too, look at the changeover.
There it is. Okay. I was about to make that point.
Very little changeover in players, very little changeover in staff.
Actions and words.
Yeah.
And they match up. They say they like being with him, and then when they have the chance to go elsewhere, which just like the players, when you're winning, it doesn't matter if you're the head coach, if you're the assistant coach, whatever, people are going to come for you. And we had people talking to us about that off camera. Yeah, we had a couple of people talking about it off microphone yesterday.
Yeah, because I'm not on camera anymore.
You were just a couple of weeks ago.
It's just a vacation fill-in.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't have regular. I'm not a regular TV guy anymore. I've retired the print. I've retired the TV.
Yeah, but there's something else about to happen. I just got told about yesterday. So hold on there. I know, Madon.
But that's a real barometer for judgment, and that's exciting. If I'm a BYU fan, I love that. Morgan will get his opportunity to prove that. He proved it to an extent. Go back and listen yesterday. They made the coaches the assistants. Now, the assistants are just for 5 minutes, but trying to get Sharif Shaw 5 minutes, that ain't happening.
That's one question.
That's one question, quite literally.
He got asked a question. It's a good question, but I've heard him asked it before.
It's a great question.
And I knew what the answer was going to be, and he gave virtually the same answer.
And he shouldn't be limited to 5 minutes.
No, he's got something to say.
He sells your program every time he's out in front. Get that man out in front as much as possible because he was there. He came up from L.A. down there at Dorsey in L.A. City, just right off below the freeway there. I don't want to tell you the freeway because then you'll look it up. But Dorsey and his brother, I actually covered his brother when I was covering preps down there.
The 91?
No.
Oh. The 55?
It's a 10.
Oh, okay.
You went stuff that's more south.
Yeah.
And he sells it, and he was asked. Coach Witt was very persuasive, but I wanted to be here. I want to be with that guy that we've spent over a decade.
Sitting in the corner room thinking, if we ever had the chance, we'd do this or we'd do that.
Right.
And Sharice's already called Morgan. Hey, do you remember when you said if you had this moment, you do that? Here's the moment. And Morgan's like, no.
And those guys are boys. I've seen them on the golf course together. Mm-hmm. I've talked to them on the golf course together.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, that's Morgan's time will come. Kalani's got 11 years into it, so obviously we've got more ammunition to talk about him. But the fact that all of these guys, the two guys who left went to Michigan. And one actually had the deeper connection, speaking of Jay, obviously, with Kyle longer than he did with Kalani. So there was a strong connection there. And then clearly Guilford had developed a connection with Jay. But that's pretty good. You lose 2 to Michigan, tip your hat. Way to go. Good luck, guys. But everybody else stayed. And guys wanted to be here. The 2 new coaches that they got, they're ecstatic to be there. So that's and hardly any. He could have lost a bunch of players, but
easy. And right at the top of the list, I had Satawala. That was the number one. As soon as all this went down, I was like, "What's Satawala going to do?"
Well, great player, local kid.
Mm-hmm.
Smith Soden went.
Yeah.
Yep. I got no problem with him going. He chose what he chose.
Again,
so be it.
Really good player.
Satawala chooses. Now, I think he just got engaged and all, so he had a gal here and all that stuff. So that stuff matters, your personal life and whatnot. But he still had that opportunity.
I'm sure.
I would assume Glasgow had the opportunity.
Yeah, I think these are guys that we're sure they can play in the Big Ten.
Of course they can.
We think they can play in the NFL, we're pretty sure they can play.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're at the point where we just look at these rosters, and they got like draftable guys every year. And you can look, they may not be in this draft class if, Satawala as a sophomore can't be drafted.
Weeks ago, I put a question up on Facebook, and we never even got to it because we had so much going on with the Jazz at the time that somebody had said, some draft, ESPN or whatever it was, said that there's up to 10 draftable guys on the Cougars team. And we never got to it.
We didn't.
Yeah.
But that NFL draft's a long way away. We got time.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if.
But I think we're at that point now where it's not unusual.
It's not unusual to have NFL guys at BYU.
It's not unusual to see.
He does it again.
2, 3, 4 guys. I want to finish the thought. 2, 3, 4 guys in a draft class. Back
you
to the
will not stop me from making this point.
I'm going to make the point.
Yeah, and you should make the point.
2, 3, 4 guys in a draft class is not surprising to say that play.
No, go unusual. I like it's not unusual. It's not.
It's not unusual. And then you multiply that over 4 years, and you're like, well, that's 8, 12, 16 guys on these rosters. And you got transfers and you got Michigan guys, so guys may not be, but you get the point. Yeah. It's not, if they've got a pretty good team, and we think both these teams are pretty good teams, it's not going to be a big surprise to say that. Now, if they start getting to a point where you can say, hey, they got 6 guys this year, and there's going to be another 4 or 5 next year.
That's what you want.
They're all out there on the, so first off, I'm not surprised by the 10. Now, second, tell me how many are going to be on the field, because some of the guys may be younger. They may not be out in the field. Obviously, these guys to injuries and all that. But it's
I
not
think they were
shock.
saying that's 10 this year. Now, that's not all seniors, because Satawala, this is his 3rd season, right?
Yeah, Satawala is draft eligible.
He's draft eligible. It's draft eligible guys
so you're
in
talking
2027.
You're talking. I was just talking the whole roster or the year. But what you're saying, and this is the way football works, we just have to adapt to it. There's 3rd, 4th, and 5th year guys.
All those guys are draft eligible.
All those guys are draft eligible.
Yeah.
But again, if it's 3 per class, you got a 15 on the roster, but 3 per class is 9 eligible for a draft. So to say, and I don't think they said there are 10. I thought I have to go back and read the story.
They said up to 10,
but
that's this year's draft class, to PK's point. They also had the caveat on there
so they weren't
more.
counting Satawala because he's a
Yes,
he's a junior.
He's a redshirt
draft
sophomore.
eligible for 2027
because he's about to play his 3rd season, right?
But they didn't include Bear Bachmeier because he's draft ineligible, and so
they said, wait, you said he's or he's not?
He's not. It's a 2nd year. He's
right. Okay, I thought you said is. I did not hear you say not. I could hear PK say not, but you're talking over each other.
No, I remember it. They were talking this
year's 10 guys.
Draft eligible dudes.
The name BYU will be called by the commissioner on the stage 10 times next spring.
We'll see.
Could be.
We'll see. Yeah. That's the projection.
But you've got to go through the 3rd, 4th, and 5th year guys.
They're obvious. We can all name them.
Do it.
Want me to name them?
Sure.
Well, I mean, I'd have to get the roster up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right off the top. You're right about Satuala, and you're right about Glasgow.
I wrote down. In fact, when that thing came out, I wrote it down.
LJ Martin has got to be on your list, right?
Pac-12 notebook.
That is a collector's item. I don't think you should be writing that. It's a museum piece.
Let's see. You want BYU? Okay, draft-eligible dudes. Well, you got certainly Bruce Mitchell along the line, Gentry. Now, I'm being not necessarily specific. I'm naming possibilities. Walker Lyons, guys up front, Tanavasa, maybe Kirkland Schoonover. We'll see. At the linebacker, Glasgow, Olivea, how is it? Olivave, yeah.
Uluave.
And I'll screw that up all season. And DB, we already mentioned Satuala, Evan Johnson. I wouldn't put possibly Demooney. We shall see.
Trey Alexander should be on that list.
Yeah, I'm going. Well, he's in my neck. I got to get down on it. I have him at the.
Well, you're talking about secondary, so I just
let him talk, Yuck.
Yeah. So how many guys did I name?
That's 11. I'm counting. You can't even name 11.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious, and there'll be other guys. Maybe
emerge.
Maybe JoJo Phillips has this breakout 1,200-yard season that we've been talking about because, oh, my gosh, he's got the size. And for whatever reason, I don't know, because I wasn't following Oregon the last couple years the way we used to. But you look at the Casper kid, and, he certainly has the measurables. And I don't know why he didn't play at Oregon. I understand there were some injury issues, but I didn't follow Oregon the way I normally would if they were still in my beloved, dearly departed conference. I would know way more about the guys that they had, but we don't have to pay attention to them that much anymore. So maybe he's somebody. Who knows? I don't know. And maybe there's a couple other guys along the offensive line there. Finau, for instance. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, those are the guys, and maybe even Saliha Sarah. I mean, he could have a breakout season. I think he'd been in the program for 3 years, or going to be draft eligible. But yeah, those are your dudes, and away they go. So that's this year that we're talking about, and obviously there's going to be underclassmen that will.
Second-year guys might contribute a lot.
Well, Bachmeier would be the leading candidate, obviously. Oh, and I didn't even put L.J. Martin on that list. I didn't even say L.J. Martin.
I know. I named him. I named him while you were waiting, so I figured just skipped over him.
LJ's probably the highest of the guys on that list in terms of what people think right now.
And then we'll have the whole decision, even if you can be drafted, do you come back? What's your NIL money? If you think you're going to be a fifth, sixth round pick, maybe you come back a year. I mean, there's all kinds of question marks. But the point is, there's no shortage of talent, and there's going to be NFL scouts at games and watching film. And when you got that many talented guys, you ought to win. And that, to circle back to our earlier discussion, that's why the head coach and both coordinators are saying biggest, strongest, fastest team. And then you got NFL people backing it up, and they don't even care about the wins and losses. You can have a hole in a position group that costs you a game, and they can still draft a bunch of your guys who play in other position groups.
And, yeah, at the start of the segment, that's why Kalani is rated as high as he is, because the reality is he's got the program humming right now. You cannot argue that. And that's why I think there was some higher-ups, and I got information here, that said, no, he's not going to Penn State. I mean, he may go, but we're going to do everything in our power to keep him.
Yeah, we're not letting him go.
Right.
If he wants to walk.
Even though Jay Hill was an awesome alternative.
Oh, yeah.
The folks at the highest levels, which are not necessarily at the campus level, we're keeping him. We're gonna keep him. This is our number one objective. And normally in those situations, when those people who really, really have the decision-making power, if they say, this is our number one objective, it's going to get accomplished.
And then, see, we had to go down to a press conference because they got done.
Right. And
there's so much that goes into 100%. It. And you start with the winning, because it's always about the winning. 4 double-digit win seasons in the last 6 years. The other 2, they had QB injuries. So that's right there. But then when you talk to people about how much they like interacting with him, how much they like working with him, how much they like sitting in meetings, strategizing about what the plan is and what has to be done, right down the list, A, B, C, what the next year, 2, 3. Man, the people who sit in those meetings rave about him.
And he got the best endorsement a week ago, just 7 days ago.
And that would be?
JK telling him, big fan. She looked at him and just said, big fan. What more do you want?
See, there it is. Now you want to tell people who JK is?
The old lady.
What?
The old lady.
There it is. Mrs. K.
Yes.
The most powerful endorsement.
Just, I said, this is JK. Oh, I love this guy. And she just looked at him and said, big fan. What more do you need?
And for people who don't listen to the show a lot and aren't paying attention, she's got a little bit of experience in this area. She has dealt with coaches and recruiters in multiple sports for years as a high school teacher and coach. Mm-hmm. And coaches come through campus from literally, and I mean, for a while she was at the junior high, so she wasn't seeing it. But then for a while she was at high school. And previously in her career, she'd been in high school in the LA area where there's a gazillion athletes playing a gazillion sports. Yeah. And everybody recruits LA. And now up here at Corner Canyon, everybody recruits. So is there a little bit of, I turn on the TV, I watch games, I listen, I hear PK stories when he comes home. That's a factor. But also, literally, she's talked to hundreds of coaches.
I'm the kind of husband, I never kept her barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
See, I literally had someone complain about that yesterday. You have a great show. I want to listen to your show, but sometimes that dude you're with, and they did say sometimes, like sometimes they like listen to you, but sometimes that dude you're with, right there.
That is the advancement of women, and women are being attacked these days. And I say, I don't keep her barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I'm a progressive dude.
That's progress, huh? that's
compared to barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Yes,
sure. That's your starting line. You
got to start from the start.
And why is the fact that you would label that the start?
I didn't label it.
Oh, I'll tell a guy to talk to you. I don't want to get in the middle of you two. You two can have it out over there. I don't have the energy for that. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Top of the hour conversation with Kelly Poppinga. He's done the tour, PK, or been around the block. To BYU, to Virginia, to Boise State, back to BYU. We'll talk with him at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
Welcome to This is Jay Scott and Ben Anderson.
I mean, honestly, this is uncharted territory for Utah. Other than Witt like to change his offensive coordinator every 45 minutes, we have not seen a switch at head coach for Utah, hardly ever. I mean, they are the Pittsburgh Steelers of college football. Kind of had a couple of coaches, and they've all stepped in and been very successful.
I think Morgan probably will try and find the sweet spot in being a little bit more aggressive. If he tries to go full Mike Leach on it, Utah's going to learn some painful lessons. But
there's more room for error than Witt thought.
There is, and I think
in a good way.
And we saw that in the bowl game. Mm-hmm. Deep down, Witt is a soccer coach, and I don't think that Morgan is a soccer coach. And when I say that, I mean like, oh, you've got a 1-goal to none lead. Well, let's sit on that thing. Yep. Let's anchor it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Love that strategy.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Went down to BYU, talked to a bunch of people. We'll play some of the interviews here. One of them, Kelly Poppinga, next. And we'll probably play our conversation with A-Rod tomorrow. Then you talked to a bunch of people, PK. We had a couple of interviews. We talked with Tiger. Any impressions you took away from that opening day? We had the impressions on the opening day at Utah Monday and on the air with the Aggies Media Day Tuesday. Scotty G and Tim Lacombe at the broadcasting live. The Cougars are live. The Cougars are the last of 3 to get underway. Headlines, takeaways.
They're bigger, stronger, faster.
That sticks with you, huh?
Yeah. There is a confidence level that I haven't seen this team have in maybe Taysom and Jamal's senior season, but everything was brand new then with the coaches, so you didn't really know what to expect. You might have to go back to Broncos' run of, what do you have, 43 wins there in the 4 seasons from 2006.
Where they knew when they walked out on the field in August, we are preparing to just knock people over week after week.
Yes. And, we've been around long enough to be able to assess that. Like I made a statement the other day at Utah with one of their administrators that I think Devin Dampier is the best leader that they've had at quarterback since Brian Johnson. And he looked at me and says, well, you would know more than I would because I wasn't there then. Right.
Brian Johnson was a great leader, and Devin is. And I think that what they kind of knew it, but it's just being underlined at Michigan is like, man, he was good. Because this quarterback's really good, and they have a talented quarterback. But Dampier is like a leader in the film room with the guys, his grasp of the offense.
Nothing away from any of the other guys. Sam Rising was a great leader too.
To take nothing away from the current quarterback at Michigan, previous quarterbacks at Utah, he's just got something. And when I hear the current OC McGivern talk about, hey, we're putting stuff in, he's grasping, and it's much better. I'm like, man, if he's getting his arms around in a month, what I've been told about this guy, like if it's good with him today and you like the progress you're making and you still have a month before you have to play a game and it really matters, well, that's awesome. Because whatever grasp he has on it now, it's going to be times 10 3 weeks from now.
So that's not to say that the other ones, I want to make that abundantly clear. And I just use it as an example that when I say to me, this is my own personal opinion, take it for what it's worth, that I believe that this group has been the most confident since Bronco probably going into Max's senior year. That's based on my experience of being around the program. That's one of the benefits of being old as crap, is that you can make statements like that because we've been around and covered these programs intensely.
So shorthand for the listeners, expectations for a fifth double-digit win season in the last 7 years.
Oh, I think that's very realistic. I
think and that's with Notre Dame and Utah on the schedule.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Arizona, TCU. Don't you can put those other two there. I've got no problem, but don't limit it to that.
There are plenty of other
games.
games.
The Devils come up and they'll have 2 months in the season. We'll know. Maybe they're really good. Maybe they're just fighting for bowl eligibility. We shall see.
But even if they don't have a great season, can they be good on any given Saturday?
I think there's plenty of teams in this conference that
can be good on any given Saturday.
Yes.
TCU, Houston, Arizona State.
Yes. No, there's no question in my mind.
DJ and PK, when we come back, our conversation with Brady Poppinga, BYU defensive coordinator, next. Excuse me, did I say Brady? Yeah. Kelly Poppinga. I got Brady on the brain. Kelly Poppinga, BYU defensive coordinator. Sorry about that, Kelly. Coming up next. Stay with us. DJ PK, and we are joined by BYU's defensive coordinator. Kelly, do you look over your shoulder for someone when I say that? Are you used to that title?
No. I've always, like linebacker coach or defensive end coach, but man, when I said defensive coordinator, man, that's, the little weight comes on your shoulders a little bit, but it's been fun. I keep saying it. I got great people around me. It makes the job way more manageable than I thought it would be, and it's been fun. I'm excited.
You're now the first-time defensive coordinator, but it's kind of like Ciancia up at Utah. You've been training for this for a long, long time. So how much does that give you a level of comfort that even though the title is new, you were special teams coordinator, and then you've been around both sides of the country, different places. Seems like you got a lot of experience as you assume this mantle.
Yeah, no, I've said this from day one. I look back to my playing career with Bronco and my coaching career with Bronco, and then on to Boise State, and then with Kalani the last 3 years and Jay, I've learned a ton and I've been well prepared, and And I got good guys like that around me that have, been and seen and done everything. And so, having a guy like Coach Anderson around has been awesome, and learning from him. So to me, it's all about the people that you have around you. And obviously the experience helps, but there's a lot of other experience around us that I think prepares the whole staff to be ready for what's coming.
When I hear people talk about this, and Cougar fans, a lot of them are like, Jay Hill was awesome. We're going to miss Jay Hill. And I think, well, that's true. Yeah. Jay was awesome. He had a great run at Weber State. He had a great, the last 2 years here have been awesome. But I keep thinking, because they're able to promote from within, you've literally had full access to Jay, everything he thought, why he did the things he did, why he regretted some of the things he did that he didn't do. It's kind of an unusual transformation here. It's not a lot of stuff has been lost. You were taking notes. You knew this day could come.
Oh, yeah, and Jay's awesome. I learned a ton from him in 3 years. He was a huge help for me on special teams, too, as well. Really good coach, really good person. I learned a lot from him as far as how to manage people, too, as well, how to manage players. He was exceptional at all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I've told this to everybody, Jay learned it from, at the same time Kalani was learning it. They both learned it from, Gary Anderson, who's in the building with us, and Gary learned it from Kyle Whittingham. And, there's this whole tree, and I feel like I have access to this whole tree. And, Jay and I still talk, and we were out golfing at this Pebble Beach deal, and we were, talking through stuff. And, we didn't sit back and watch, Self-Scout together. We watched it, while he's at Michigan and I was here. And it's funny, we had a lot of the same conclusions from what, could have been better from a year ago, and who played better than we thought, and who could have, maybe played a little bit better. But anyway, it was pretty interesting to just get that feedback when we'd been in separate rooms and kind of came down to the same ideas. But I just think ultimately, to have Kalani, to have Gary, to have DeMario Warren, to have Lewis Walker, all these guys have D coordinator experience, and just to have all that around me, I just feel blessed to have a bunch of good people around me.
Okay, I don't want to talk football anymore. I want to talk Pebble Beach. You played Pebble Beach?
Yeah. Kalani, it's something that Lavelle, I think, started about 30 years ago. Oh. And, we were able, Kalani goes every year, so maybe you can get it in with Kalani right there. And a bunch of coaches from around the country go there. You get a foursome. Each coach gets a foursome, and you play 3 courses over a 3-day period. It's a pretty sweet deal, and you end with Pebble Beach on the last day. So, it was awesome.
All right. Just a little more football here, although we could talk Pebble Beach forever, because that's fairly nice perk, dude. Yeah, very good perk. Yeah. You mentioned DeMario Warren. Remember him at Southern Utah. Southern Utah has some advantages, but they also have a lot of disadvantages, a lot of hills to climb. His time there, they were right there with Jay, sharing Big Sky title, playing head-to-head in an NCAA playoff game, and they had tough times after he left. So what is the secret sauce he's got? He's clearly got something, because he outperformed what happened right before him, and he outperformed what happened right after him. That dude's got something. What are you seeing?
And there's a reason why I brought him here when I, was with him at Boise State. He did some awesome stuff at Boise State too as well. And very detailed coach, very smart, very intelligent. He's one of those guys that, I think he came from the offensive side. He was a running back, so he had to go through the grinder to be able to learn, what defensive football was all about, coaching the back end, and then becoming a coordinator under Ed Lamb, and then becoming the head coach and having a lot of success. And so I just think it kind of goes to that same mold I was in, but he was kind of under that Ed Lamb tree for a long time. He was at Southern Utah for 14 years. And so I just think that experience that he has as a coordinator, as a head coach, and then being able to see what he did as a position coach at Boise State, everywhere he's been, he's had results. And I know immediately when he stepped in the room and went through his first position meeting, the guy sat back and was like, they love Jay Hill, but, they listened to this guy talking, his knowledge of the game. I think they were all blown away, like, holy cow, this guy knows the game of football, and he knows coverages, he knows the back end. Not just that part, he knows the front end too as well, which is pretty, that's different for a back end coach to know a lot about the front end. So he's a super smart guy that I just think brings a lot of knowledge to the staff.
You left BYU, was it 2015?
2015 was our last year. 2016 was our first year at Virginia. Yep.
So at that time, I can remember talking to you about what you experienced in Virginia versus here in terms of resources. Uh-huh. And you're a guy who speaks his mind, and you said, no, there's more resources over there than there was here, and you laid it out. Now that we're a decade later and we know what happened in December and more resources, just speak to the level of commitment financially and all the things that go into running a big-time program and what you've seen from BYU first time around to where it is now.
Yeah, all you got to do is walk into our weight room and see a complete remodel of our weight room. That's top of the line. You know, this addition was done after Bronco left. And then you look at our nutrition center, we didn't have any of that when we were here before. So the access to the food that these guys have, the access to our sports science, you know, that sports science department's as big as, you know, anywhere in the country. I mean, we got Ohio State and other SEC schools, Big Ten schools coming after Skyler, our sports science guy. So, I mean, it's that part of it of just being able to take care of the players with their bodies, their nutrition. There's a sleep part of it too as well. I mean, it's not even close. It's night and day. It's honestly two different programs. You wouldn't be able to tell the two programs side by side. That's how different it is. And just the quality, nothing against the players in the past, but I would say the quantity of the quality, right, is a lot better than what it was. We're deeper and more talented than we've ever been. And, you know, I think a lot has to do with going into the Big 12 and being able to recruit and have the finances to do all that. But I think they walk in here now and they're like, oh, these guys care about football. Look at their weight room. Look at the nutrition. Look at all just the access that the players have to a bunch of different resources. It's night and day from where we were, 10 years ago, independent with Bronco.
And what about night and day from a year ago? Because obviously that process with Penn State, it was a lot of money, and it's not just about a salary for the head coach. It's not just about a salary for the assistants, the staff, everything. How does the program move forward because of the discussions that happened last December?
Yeah, obviously there was a lot of resources committed to Kalani, and there was, a lot of discussions there that, he wanted to make sure our players had. And ultimately for him, which I really respect about Kalani, a lot of it didn't come down to him. It was about what more could the staff have and what more could the players have. And it wasn't more for him. It was more for everybody else that he wanted, because he knows if the players are taken care of and if their bodies are right, mentally, physically, emotionally, academically, all that stuff, we're going to be a successful football team. And what I've been able to see honestly in the last 6 to 8 months is that this team is, right now, we're bigger, faster, stronger than we were a year ago. And I thought last year was one of the fastest teams BYU's ever had. So I think we're a step ahead, and I think a lot has to do with the resources Kalani got for our team.
Do you guys talk about expectations much? Because obviously they're extremely high.
We call that, I think Nick Saban used to say rat poison, PK. That's the rat poison on the outside. He said, that's just rat poison. But, there's expectations outside the building, but our players know what we want. Yeah, we know what we want, and we talk about it. But at the end of the day, it was a saying I actually got from Bronco all the time. He used to say, keep the end in mind of, like, why did we come out to practice today? Well, it's because what we want to have accomplished in December and January. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to go tell the world what we're all about. We can talk about it in our building, but that's the process, I think, of what Kalani talks about, being humble and hungry and, just going to work every day. And you chip away every single day, and that, those goals that you set for yourself are going to come to fruition if you just stay the course.
We've been here so long, and we've seen so many people like yourself. We remember when you played, and we remember when you're a position coach, and then your career progresses. And so, of course, we're impartial journalists, but it's just more fun when the local teams win. Yeah. But we can't lie. There was a clear gap between Texas Tech and both the Utes and Cougars a year ago. When you say this team's bigger, stronger, and faster than a year ago, I hear that and think the gap is closing big time, or it's closed, or maybe they've surpassed them. Am I crazy? Am I up in the night? Before I go blathering away on the radio, do you want to say anything about that? Because that's right where my brain went.
Well, I just think, you have to play the games to obviously see that. But from my standpoint of just from our team, I don't know what they're doing, but I know from our team, we're bigger, faster, stronger, more experienced than we were a year ago. Obviously, having a quarterback that's more experienced helps us as well. And so I just look at that. I don't know if the gap's closed. Maybe they've gotten bigger, faster, stronger too as well, right? But I just feel from where we were a year ago, from our standpoint, I think we've closed the gap on that. And yeah, they're the standard right now. We got to catch those guys, and they're doing some great stuff. And hopefully we have a chance to play them. And if we do, they'll be in a championship game. That's when we'll play them, because we don't play them in the regular season. So I would like to experience that game to see if we've closed in the gap.
We've often heard over the years for BYU football and for others that were in the Mountain West and WAC that the starters were able to compete with just about anybody, but the depth really dropped off. And so what you're saying now, and answer this question then, that the depth now is something that I don't know if you're satisfied, but you're happy, whatever word you would use, as far as, because we know injuries are going to come.
Yeah. I was looking at our 3 deep today. I'm just looking at linebackers now. and trying to get these guys all reps in practice. And usually you don't worry about getting your threes reps in practice. You know, those usually happen at the end of practice. Usually, like we did today, have a set for the threes. But now I'm trying to rotate my threes in because I think I don't want to say they're just as good as my starters, but they could go start for us and we would be just fine. And they have started for us. It's Ace Kafusi and Miles Hall. Those are our threes right now, and those guys have both started games for us. And so to be in that position at the linebacker, and I think it's the same at D-line and DB and safety, I just think we're 3 deep, and all those guys could be starters for us.
Is that going to translate on special teams?
It should. I mean, I think the deeper your team is, the better you are on special teams. And that's why I think we've been really good on special teams the last 2 years. We were deep in those positions to where you didn't have to have your starters out there playing all the special teams. You still have them out there for 1 or 2 units, but that's where I credit our team over the last 2 years. We were deeper than I ever had been at BYU before in 24 and 25. And so I would believe it would go in that same direction as long as those guys are bought in, which I know Coach Anna will get those guys bought in to do it.
And so you mentioned, Coach Anna, you're not special teams coach anymore, coordinator. Are you going to be whispering in his ear, fake punt? What are you going to do?
I'll let him do whatever, because that was Kalani's pretty. I mean, he's pretty aggressive when it comes to that stuff, and so I'm excited about it. Yeah. So I know Coach Anna. It's really just the mindset that we do as a team. So I'm sure we'll be ready for that stuff.
Yeah, but you can really green light it when the defensive coordinator is like, "We got this. Go for it. If it works, great. If not, we'll clean it up. We got it."
That was what was great with Jay. Jay was always ready for it. He knew what we were going to do, and always had the defense prepared. And we'll be the same way.
All right. Thanks for a few minutes. Congrats on the new gig, and congrats on the Pebble Beach stuff. Good work.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
The perks, PK. You really perked up at the thought of that perk. That was sweet.
Well, I know Kalani does that because he told me a story. He said, "Yo, yeah, man, I'm on that first tee." And he's golfed more. This is going way back. And I was shaking, and I just topped the driver, and man, hit it about 150 yards. And then I took a 2-iron when no one was looking on the second shot, and I smoked it.
That is the nature of that sport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was all nervous, and that's what you got there. But I think Kelly is ready to go. He's got the training. He acknowledges the mentors that he's had. And the funny thing is that he will always first go to Bronco. And Bronco, long since removed from BYU, but his influence is still at BYU. And Kelly Poppinga is a literal example. And Kyle, who has been 5 decades ago from BYU and wouldn't say their names, blah, 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 his influence is still there. Yeah. And Gary Anderson is there. We saw him yesterday walking around. And then I saw him later, and he went to the weight room. And, he still gives me a jab every time he sees me. Like he told Poppinga, be careful of this guy. That's what I think is so cool, is that you've got these guys that have been trained here and they're around now training people. I think Gary he's a new title, special assistant to Kalani.
I think it's like head.
Yeah.
Chief consultant to the head coach.
It's a fancy title because it's indicative of his influence that he has on his program.
But he might as well be the Godfather.
But he's not retired. He's not phasing out. He has influence. He's there. And that's a great sounding board. And because he's been there, done that, he's not looking to take anybody's job. And everybody knows there's no threat.
Right.
Of, hey, if this doesn't work, this guy here, he's going to be, no, not at all. That's just not going to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. He could have been a coordinator somewhere if he wanted to, but this is the position that he wants to be in. And he wants to help his guys. And his guy, right off the bat, was Kalani. And now his guy has been Kelly.
He has said that multiple times.
Yeah.
And he said it to multiple people multiple times.
Yeah.
And he said it.
Consultant to head coach / to senior defensive consultant.
That's a powerful statement.
It's a mouthful. Say that again.
Chief consultant to head coach / senior defensive consultant.
All right.
That's like Big Fred was the chief consultant to Kyle. From the great beyond, he was. And that we saw what the influence that is. And I Bronco told me this story. His brother played at BYU, played in the NFL, and it was a defensive line who was a little bit bigger. I think his first name was Matt. And he told me that Matt said the best coach, now this is a guy who played in the NFL, the best coach he ever had was Big Fred. And that was when
and then you
Kyle and Bronco are not exactly bosom buddies.
That was as fiery as the rivalry has ever been.
And so he said that. So that influence is still around. So I'm excited for Kelly because he's earned this spot. You know, he could have stayed, well, I don't know if he could have, but maybe just stayed local. But no, he took his family all the way on the other side of the country. His in-laws, and obviously his family's from Evanston, but his in-laws, I know that his in-laws live close to me, and he told me that, and I already knew it anyway. But all the way over, then comes all the way back, then gets back here. So this is a guy who's put in the time to have this position. He's earned the right to be the D coordinator. And Kalani said that he's never had a D coordinator work harder than Kelly. So I'm excited for him. And, yeah, I'll flat out tell you, I'm going to be rooting for him. Yeah.
Get in line.
Yeah. I covered the guy as a player. I was the beat writer for the Tribune when he was a starting linebacker. Back when that Bronco era there, where they seemed like they had a ton of great linebackers.
Because they did.
Yeah.
They did. They were really, really strong.
Yeah. Right.
They have been historically. I mean, that's always been a great position for them.
But that was...
Lavelle had great linebackers.
Yeah, they were really good then.
Kalani's had great linebackers.
Keel, Nixon. Was it Buchwald and then Kelly, and I'm sure there's other guys that if you told me those guys, Cam Jensen, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to name them all. There's no way I'll forget.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We've covered a lot of ground this morning. There's some NBA news, NFL news, big contracts being handed out. What has gone wrong with the Dodgers? We'll get to everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoq.
For Utah, it's offense and maybe defensive line, but primarily the offensive line. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I got to dig a little deeper here. But honestly, the more I kept looking at it, the more I kept thinking, it really comes down to those two position groups. Can Utah have offensive linemen that can step up?
You know, I think the big question mark outside of the offensive line for Utah nationally is Morgan Scalley.
Yeah.
But, nobody even talks about that around here because I think everybody has a real comfort factor with the way things looked in that bowl game, honestly. But the bottom line was they were sharp. They took advantage of opportunity more so than maybe a Whittingham team would. It felt like the guys were loose and ready to ball. That's like a sign. And then you hear all the stuff from the guys, how happy they are.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
The Synchrowave 212 from Miller is making TIG welding more approachable than ever. AutoSet takes the guesswork out of getting started by automatically adjusting your weld parameters. An intuitive graphic interface means less time setting up and more time under the hood. And the optional water cooler keeps you welding longer. Whether you're a welding expert or just getting started, the Miller Synchrowave 212 lets you tackle more with TIG.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. How many losers are there in pro sports, PK?
I haven't found one.
0. There are some players. I mean, these are nice players, but they're not exactly the megastars here.
I will say, before you get to the numbers, I've met a lot of losers in sports radio.
See? Phoenix Suns give wing Dylan Brooks. You love his flopping. I know you do. Prepare to hit the memes. Let's go. Phoenix Suns give Dylan Brooks a 3-year, $73 million contract extension. They overachieved expectations last year. He's a key part of the Suns' rotation. He averaged a career-high 20.2 points per game. He gets 3 years, $73 million.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Wow. Ravens give Zay Flowers a contract extension, 4 years, $140 million, $108 million, $108 million guaranteed. And Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, who I think is the biggest star of all of these, 2-year, $44 million contract extension, $39 million guaranteed. Bonuses could push it to $47 million. He ran for almost 1,600 yards last year. He's had 4,000-yard seasons, so that's why it's a 2-year extension. He's already had basically double the average running back career. A little risky to give him big money further out than that, but 2-year extension, there you go.
He was a stud in high school. I told you he was a Jersey kid. I followed him. He was a stud at Wisconsin. Saw him play when I went back there, covered BYU, and he's been a stud with the Colts.
He's been so good for them.
Yeah, been a stud every step of the way. Good for him. I like to see those NFL guys get the money because that's brutal. And get that money, get that guaranteed money, and use it wisely, and away you go. And that's pretty cool.
27 years old, to give him 2 or 3 seasons healthy here, he's going to be over 10,000 career yards. He's already over 7,500. And I always think, man, when you get to 10,000 yards as an NFL running back, that is rare. That is hard to do. That is quite the career. And he's right there.
Is that 1,000 football fields?
Yes, it would be. Very good.
Just nice round numbers.
That is not true. I just did the math on that again.
That's why I asked before starting it.
That is 100 football fields.
100?
100, yeah, 100 times 100 would be 10,000.
Okay.
Don't do math on the radio. How many times did I said that? If I'm just sitting there doing it, I can figure it out and I can get it. But if I'm talking and doing something, then I'm going to mess it up.
That's why I asked.
It's 100 football fields.
So you expect him to run for 100 football fields?
That is saying something.
I agree.
All right. So big money, pass it around, yay. Everybody get the cash. Here you go. I left out Stephon Diggs, 1 year, $12 million. He was saying, hey, I'm good enough to be, you can have your stars, but I'm good enough to be the second receiver on most teams. And he found one who agreed, and the Commanders give him a year and $12 million. Commanders, that's a little, that's kind of the Colorado Buffs, right? Could be good. They were up, they were down. There's explanations. The coach stepped away. He had health issues. They lost their quarterback.
I'm expecting him to be good.
Yeah. Everybody can't be good in that division. People expecting the Cowboys to bounce back. The offense was good. The defense has got to be better. It was just
bounce back from
terrible.
What, though?
The Cowboys get back to 10 wins, be a playoff team. They should be that good. And when you say bounce back for Washington, I thought that's what we were talking about. Winning record.
Oh, yeah, but that's another story.
Right,
but it seems like I've been saying the Cowboys I'm wondering what they're bouncing back from. I know 2 years ago when Daniels was a rookie, Washington was really good. Then they had the problem last year. So it's easy to see the bounce back. Mm-hmm. But the Cowboys, I'm trying to figure out what are they bouncing back from?
Bouncing back from they were a playoff team, and then they had I just thought they had a terrible year. They had a losing season. So get back to being a playoff team. That's bounce back.
But it's been that way for a number of years. So I don't consider that bouncing back. Washington, when they draft Daniels, he comes up. He's a surprise maybe to some, and they're a revelation. They had struggled. He gets them. They got to the conference final, right? Mm-hmm. And so you can see what their bounce back is. But the Cowboy story has been the same story for a number of years.
Well, they had back-to-back 12-win seasons, and now they've had back-to-back 7-win seasons. And I expect them to get back to double digits and playoffs. The defense was bad. They spent a ton of money on it. They brought guys in.
Maybe they will.
And they
That's
don't.
what I wanted to I wanted to figure out. What are they bouncing back from?
I'd have to look at the defensive stats, but I think there's key categories where they're like 30, 31, 32. I mean, not bad. Like literally bottom of the league bad.
Okay.
If they could just get to 15th or 20th in key defensive categories.
But what does that translate to in the postseason? To me, that's not bouncing back.
Well, that's all they've ever been. I mean, I don't want to talk about it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they're not bouncing back.
I don't think either Washington or Dallas should be Super Bowl teams. I think they both can be playoff teams. I think everyone's chasing the Rams, and Seattle, they're the defending champs. There wasn't much difference last year. It looks like the Rams have made moves to improve. It looks like Seattle, because of financial stuff, not sure they're quite as good, quite as deep. But that's the the West is the top of the. I just don't think Washington and Dallas are going to that class. If Philly does, great. But I think the Giants should be way better, and Philly should still be pretty good, and that just can't all happen.
They play enough. I mean, they only play each other a minority of the schedule.
They have 6 games in the division and 11 out.
Right.
So if they really clean up.
I mean, I think there's opportunities there. Don't be dissing my childhood division.
I know. You go back to your childhood, fine. I go back to mine.
But not to make salient points. Again, when it's a joke.
Okay.
You need to understand that, dense boy.
They do, to your point about the 11 games, they're playing the AFC South. That's a division. They can make some headway in that division. They can pick up some W's there. There's wins to be had.
Just go Dubs. You don't have to go all the way.
I say Dubs. You start giggling.
Well, I want street cred. That tat didn't do it. You need more.
Tat. Now, they do have to play. The NFC East plays the NFC West. So there's a dub waiting for you in Arizona. But those other 3 games are going to be hard. Now, maybe you can just split it and go 2-2, right? Beat Arizona and pick off one of the other 3.
You're dissing the Carson Beck tenure, which is going to start tonight?
The Cards are going to have their challenges. I believe there is a rebuild that might take a little bit of time. I have low expectations for the Cardinals. I have very low expectations for Miami. There's full-on rebuilds going. Starting over. Hit the reset button, people. Dolphins and Cards.
Well, you don't say for the Cardinals the rebuild is going to take a long time. You just say business as usual.
Yeah. Okay.
They're like the Sacramento Kings. They had a little blurb,
right? Yeah.
But that's about it.
And it starts at ownership. And until they get that straightened out,
they're not.
The Bidwells aren't selling, so This is just going to be the way it is. Every once in a while, they'll catch lightning in a bottle. But it's every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kurt Warner, Hall of Fame quarterback, and Carson Palmer was pretty good. But that's it. And I think before that, Jake Plummer got him a game or 2 in the postseason.
High expectations for the Dodgers. Who has the best record in the National League now, PK?
I think it goes Brewers, Braves, Dodgers.
Yeah, there it is.
If I remember.
Because you do, because you look at the standings and you know.
Well, I watched that.
Brewers
game.
are 2 up on the Braves and 2.5 on the Dodgers.
I watched the Brewers yesterday because I wanted to see Skeens. He's not been dominating to the level that he had been.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't rough him up. But you talked about, if the Brewers had gotten Skubal, but they still have this Harrison kid to join the Miz kid, and he's pretty good. And he was pitching yesterday, so I watched that a little bit before flicking over to, I had the Philly game on with Montreal. Not Montreal. Montreal. Washington.
Wow.
I don't know why I said Montreal.
Old school.
And then at 7:40, Diamondback game. And then they scored a bunch of runs in that Diamondback game, 8-0. I thought, sweet, I can go to bed. If they can't hold an 8-run lead, then they don't deserve to win.
And you don't want to watch that kind of meltdown anyway. 10-4.
I wouldn't want to, but I would have been screaming at the television. Yeah. So.
The important thing about the Dodgers here, it's not so much that they're not number 1, and I get they're the Dodgers and they're expected to win it, so they don't have the best record. But the fact that you're 3rd, now you don't get a bye. Right. Now you're in a 2 or 3 wild card series where anybody can be vulnerable because baseball is just, it can be so,
it's
fluky
random.
doesn't fit. Random is a better word than fluky. It can be so random. Anybody can lose 2 out of 3. Oh, the best teams lose 2 out of 3 series. It happens. Man, you really want to stay out of that. But right now they're in it. Now, a long way to go still, so.
Well, I'm wondering what they'll do now. They get a little kick in the pants and maybe have some motivation.
Get focused.
And they're supposed to get a couple of pitchers back, starters.
Always a big deal.
Yeah, we'll see. Snell.
And Shohei's hitting, and they've got enough, with those guys healthy and Skubal, just take Shohei out. The knee's got to calm down. Just let him hit.
To what I've been saying
he
for
hits
2
2 homers.
years.
You never wanted him to pitch. I love the show of it all. Plus, I don't care if the Dodgers lose. I'm a Padre fan. I don't know what to tell you. I don't care if the Dodgers lose. But it's made the decision. They did not have enough pitching, and he's a very good pitching.
There should have been no decision in the first place.
They did not have enough pitching. And injuries did it to him. And now they're getting healthy guys, and they've added Skubal. I do wonder in the playoffs.
Mike Trout threw a no-hitter in high school. Don't pitch him.
I do wonder in the playoffs if we'll see him for an inning or 2. that wouldn't irritate the knee, and an inning's such a big deal in a playoff game. And I wonder, I don't know.
You haven't done something for months. Now I'm going to put you in the most important time. That screams a little bit of panic.
I get it. But, an extra inning game, deep in the series, you've used pitching. And also, I think Shohei's got the mentality, and, he's speaking through an interpreter and all that, but I think he's got the mentality like, we're going to win this game. We're going to win this championship. I'm going to get 3 outs. Give me the ball. Stop talking about it.
They got his countryman who did that last year, Yamamoto.
Yeah.
And he can speak. Both of them can speak English.
Oh, yeah. They may not want to do it with the media, but
they do some.
But they'll definitely talk to managers in the dugout. Give me the ball.
When they have that TV thing, because anytime you ask him a question, he's nodding his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been in the U.S. 10 years.
Yeah. He's picked some stuff up. So they lost to the Cubs, so they get swept, so they lost 6 in a row as the Red Sox and Cubs both sweep them. You say, well, it's a tougher part of the schedule, and yeah, those are playoff teams. Those are teams they're going to have to beat.
So you think they're going to break through, their next series?
I do not know the Dodgers schedule.
Well, I do.
What is it?
Diamondbacks.
Ooh, week out. They got a series of the Brewers coming up. Arizona, Kansas City, Milwaukee are the next 3 series. All right. A Brewer series will be a big deal. That comes to your point about the kick in the pants. Get locked in this week, and then next week you got a series like, okay, we're going to send a message.
Okay,
here.
get locked in next week then.
Don't get locked in against Arizona. Well, I'm a Padre fan. It's a wild card race. Go ahead and get
where there will
be
the place will be packed. And
it's in Arizona.
65% will
be so many Dodger fans. So many. Yeah.
I went to a game last year with Dodgers and Diamondbacks in Phoenix, and I got so mad. I was just dropping Dodger fans left and right.
Combination of people from L.A. who live in Phoenix, people from L.A. who travel over for it, people in Vegas who come down for it who are from L.A. Yeah, there'll be so many Dodger caps there. Mm-hmm. There'll be a ton of Dodger caps there.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, lids.
So
lids, dubs.
Oh.
I don't want to be chastised here. Caps. My dad wore a cap. The kid wears lid.
Okay.
Didn't see that coming, huh?
I did not. I didn't even hear you. I heard you, but I didn't know what I was hearing.
Golf Wyndham Championship got a little juice. Got 4. Count them, 4 local names here in Small Lake City, where everybody knows somebody or knows somebody who knows somebody. Tony Finau, Patrick Fishburne, Zach Blair, and Kia Akina. Cougar golfer, Lone Peak High product. 4 guys with local ties in the field. You got to know somebody who knows somebody.
That's super cool. And, golf is largely a Caucasian sport. Mm-hmm. But no, we got 2 minorities from the state of Utah playing in this.
See?
That's super cool.
Now, how many of the 4 could make the cut? Let's get them there on the weekend. We're all more likely to watch.
Geez, you want to talk about random.
Yeah, I know.
Golf. 72. And then the next day, same course, 62.
Playing earlier this week, 3 swings in a row. Mediocre swing, bad swing, great swing and result. And I get back in the cart, and the guy I'm playing with, how do I go? And he doesn't even look at us. It's golf. It's like, what are you going to do, man? Pros are hitting the ball in the water. What do you want? One of the things came up in my timeline last night. I don't know why. Classic 1960 U.S. Open, and Ben Hogan's explaining how he dumped one in the water on the next last hole and lost. And he's Ben Hogan. He's got 9 major titles, and he's got a line of clubs named after him long after he's passed away. Legend. He dumped one in the water. How could he? Because it's golf.
Well, there's a Rancho Park. It's it's just down the street in L.A., just for those of you who've been to the Latter-day Saint Temple. It's like a mile away, just south. And they used to play the L.A. Open there, and they have a memorial. Well, I think Arnold had like a 12,
mm-hmm.
and there's a monument there, his shots and whatnot.
What happened?
Because it's right along the road, and he yanked a couple in the road, blah blah blah. That's golf. You just don't know.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A lot of football today. If you didn't hear Brett Ciancia talking about pork rolls and what?
Taylor ham.
Pork rolls and Taylor ham. Pennsylvania guy who talked Jersey Shore with PK. But also, for a guy who lives on that side of the country, plugged into the Big 12, loves the Big 12, went to a game at Texas Tech last year.
The BYU game.
As he pointed out, he said, you see ACC games, the stands aren't shaking. He says, you watch big games in the Big 12, Utah, BYU, Texas Tech, the stands are shaking. People are going nuts. Amount of passion. And he really thinks those three have largely pulled away from the league.
I would love to see him find his way out here November 7th.
He brought the date up with us. We did not bring it up with him. He thinks both teams are going to have really good records going into that game.
I regret being on vacation that week.
What?
See if you're listening.
We've been talking about PK's vacation schedule and commercial breaks for the next year. I've been urging him to take a couple big trips. Go for it. Do it. Pack up and go. And literally, we were talking about specific sporting events. Can't miss that event. Well, if I go to that, I could leave from that event.
Yeah.
But not that week.
No, I anticipate, as long as everything's on the up and up, being in Rice Eccles Stadium that night.
There you go.
Or that afternoon.
That afternoon, I would think. 1:30, I would hope. That time of year, you want the day game. Plus, I think you want when more of the country is awake and can watch. I mean, granted, there'll be a bunch of good games on TV that day.
Day games.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like the night games in September? Long before TV intervened.
If I had my choice, no, but I can handle them.
Long before TV intervened, the Utes used to play night games in September and then day games in October and November.
But for me, I'd still rather have it be in a day.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Your feedback when we come back next, right here on the Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for your feedback. What are you thinking about today's show? Do you believe Utah and or BYU have done enough to close the gap with Texas Tech? Jimmy, yes. Gary, I think those three teams are neck and neck for the Big 12 championship.
Would it be neck and neck and neck?
It would have to be yes.
Right?
But isn't this
They're going
like
3 wide down the stretch?
Isn't this like the golf tournament that it's like a shotgun start on the final day? Like, you're not all head to head in the final group. Texas Tech can get to the title game and then they'll play BYU or Utah. And BYU and Utah have to play each other.
They're starting on the back nine. Where the other two
starting on the back nine or whatever. You got the morning tee time versus the afternoon tee time, and you're playing in the wind and they're not.
Yeah, and they won't be playing each other the last 3 weeks of the season either, for that matter. So, but that's...
last year it made sense. It is the way it is with these 16-team leagues. And last year, the league got a break. Everybody played each other, right? And Utah lost to both of them, so they were the one who was out of the title game, and you knew why, and it was decided on the field.
But it's been that way for over a decade.
Going the 10 teams leagues that wouldn't play 9 games, that's where it started. Who do you miss? 1 game. Then you go to 12.
Once it became the Pac-12.
The Pac-12. Who do you miss in 2 games?
Yeah.
And that mattered. And the Utes, the year they went in, were literally celebrating. They weren't playing Oregon and Stanford, who at the time looked like the 2 best teams in the North. It's like, whoa, catching a break there. And it just accelerates as you go to 14 to 16 to 18.
Even at that, like when Utah first got in the first Pac-12 title game, they had to have Oregon beat the Sun Devils. And I was texting. They played Colorado earlier in the day, and then they played the Oregon game was at night because they always made sure the Devils went to the Pacific Northwest in November and 8:30 starts.
Sweet. Can we get back at 5 in the morning, having played in the rain and 41-degree weather?
Yes, precisely.
It's like every single thing you don't want to do.
So I'm in a hotel at Colorado because I don't charter back after the game, and Utah does. And I am texting with an unnamed coach on Utah's staff.
That seems unbelievable because you're a huge Cougar and all the Utes hate you. Except for the people who work there and get paid there.
Yeah. And we're going back and forth. I'm in the hotel room. He's at home. And we're both watching the game. And we're texting back and forth.
About what's going on, what it means.
And Oregon won on a bad call, I might add, but that's just my bias. And so then the Utes got in. Great. And I think that stuff kind of happens even before they did. You need this team to beat that team, whatever. And obviously the craziest one was one of the Rose Bowl years in which they needed 4 things to happen, and they did.
Well, Yeah, the thing is, I thought 3 of them were always going to happen.
Understood.
And they did. But the 4th one, I did not think would happen.
But you still needed them to happen. You still needed 4 things to happen.
You did, and the upsets happened, and the shocker happened where they needed the shocker to happen. You know? I mean, Oregon State with the second half, you're like, if I told you that was going to happen, you wouldn't have believed me. It was the inferior team did 74 things right in the second half, and the superior team did 83 things wrong.
Kenny Dillingham's last game as an assistant coach. He was the OC at Oregon. And the plane, how about that?
Nuts.
How about that being distracting? The plane was literally right there to get on the plane so he can fly to Tempe for the press conference. And I'm grateful that he's the coach and all that stuff, but still.
And to circle back, when we see people staying at Utah and BYU, sometimes in huge numbers, it is crazy because look at Oregon with all the money they have. Look at how many times we've had that plane story.
Yeah, that was a coordinator to head coach.
That's a coordinator to head coach. It's also been a couple of head coaches. Yeah.
But can you imagine if a player, I got to go because I got this, I'm flying over here for my new school. We'd go crazy.
Hey, I'm going to leave right after practice on Thursday. I got to fly up to Kansas City to talk to the Chiefs.
or another college program.
Yeah.
That would be unheard of.
DJ and PK, thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow morning. DJ, PK, and Aaron Roderick tomorrow morning. Thanks to the Cougars for letting us chat them up for a while. Tim Lacombe and I are coming up next. Stay with us.